Welcome to The Hills Are Alive, a movie musical podcast. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Alex.
And today is our final episode of season 1, and we are discussing...
Les Misérables.
The Misérables.
And we do have a special guest today, a local expert in Les Mis. Our good friend, Larissa Maestro.
Yay! Bonjour, bienvenue.
Two local experts.
Yes, I guess, yeah. Actually,
Yes.
A little bit of background. About 10 years ago, Larissa and I put on a production of Les Mis.
In concert.
At Mercy Lounge. And it was quite the undertaking.
Oh, God. We still talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
We still talk about it constantly because it was like one of the best things that we've ever done in our lives.
Oh, yeah. But we didn't know it at the time. Well, I mean, we did.
Yeah.
We didn't exactly know what we were getting ourselves into.
No. Absolutely not. We did not. We didn't.
Larissa is a cellist and a string arranger, and that's pretty much what you do now for a living, is arranging and
recording and stuff like that. Yeah.
And
that was like the almost kind of the catalyst for like the career that I have now, because I'm just going to go into this for a second.
Yeah.
We did not purchase the book for Les Mis. I decided that it would be so easy for me to just arrange the entire thing by ear, which when I think about it now is completely insane.
crazy. Based on a piano score, right?
A piano score. I had just a piano reduction of the entire musical, and I took that and I listened to all of the recordings that had been done, the 10th anniversary, the 25th anniversary,
Right.
the original Broadway cast, the original concept album. So we've dived into all of these things. I became incredibly intimate with this music.
Yeah.
I arranged it for a small chamber ensemble, and we performed like basically the 10th anniversary order, the 10th
Yeah.
anniversary concert,
Right.
almost 10 years ago.
Right. And we thought like, hey, it's an album. It'll be like, it should be covered by whatever the venue pays with their like to ASCAP or whatever.
Yeah. But Broadway is a different thing. Broadway is a different thing. So
If only Kelsey had been a lawyer at the time, she could have told us.
I knew back then.
you know, we almost got in trouble, but then it didn't matter because we were small peanuts, and it was a fundraiser for
Right.
youth empowerment through arts and humanities
Right.
here in Middle Tennessee. So it very quickly became not a problem, especially since then.
Like, oh, you're going to take this $2,000 away from kids?
Oh, they would
Yeah,
have, yes.
yeah.
They gladly.
But I think because the movie was about to come, they had shot the movie. The movie was about to come out the next year. That like they kind of forgot about us.
And
So-
didn't you guys did like a 3-performance run?
Two.
two, yeah,
A
two nights.
2-performance run, and then they contacted you after that was
Yeah. Right,
over.
There
so it was
wasn't,
sort of like
the only thing that they could have done
moot point.
was take the money.
to use a legal term.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing they could have done was try to take the money that we had already given to not a chair, like a nonprofit organization.
A children's nonprofit.
Yeah.
So as an audience member of this performance, well, let me back up. I will say it is true that you guys talked about it nonstop. Because I was pretty actively like anti Les Miserables because of how much you guys talked about it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay, because then I went to see it, and so I didn't really know what was going on, because so like basically there was a PowerPoint display,
Right.
which you can call it that. There's a PowerPoint display, and it sort of helped, progress the story along, since
Right.
it was mostly in concert.
Yeah.
But I could not see it. I couldn't read it. So I had no clue what was going on, but I thought, this is actually like pretty good. Like I really like the
beautiful
music.
music, yeah.
Okay.
It's quite
And that
gorgeous.
was what convinced me I needed to see the movie the following year, and
Yeah.
I just like sobbed and melted, and I've been obsessed with it ever since.
Yeah, and I think Kelsey.
You made me a fan.
Yay!
This
that's
is why
wonderful.
I'm glad that we're discussing it with you, Kelsey, and with Larissa, because it's such a different. I think Larissa and I were introduced to this musical as children.
Yes.
And you were introduced to your pretty much first foray into loving it was the movie. Mm-hmm. So this is just an interesting group to have this discussion with.
Yeah, because the movie, well, let's talk about the movie.
Okay. First of all,
Directed
since
by...
this is our finale episode of season 1.
Yes.
I'm going to open this bottle of Prosecco.
And this is my first time back in the We Own This Town studios since before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a podcast. I have a Star Trek podcast that is produced by Michael at We Own This Town.
Into the Wormhole.
It's called Into the Wormhole
Check
with
it out.
Larissa and Lauren, and it's very nerdy and very weird and fun. But we only recorded once in this studio
Before the pandemic
started. And since then, we've just been doing it over Zoom.
Yeah.
So this is my first time back.
Well, we're very honored. We're so honored to have you.
How does it feel to be out in the world?
It feels good. It was really scary for a while, and now I'm feeling like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine.
Things are just going into like 100% overdrive normal very quickly, which is difficult. But anyway, I'm gonna pop this.
Pop it.
Alex, while you pop that, guess what I did over the weekend?
What?
I went to see A Quiet Place 2 by our friends.
Oh wait, you told me.
Stanley Tucci's brother-in-law, John Krasinski,
Right.
and Emily Blunt. And it was actually awesome. Highly recommend it.
Well, you said that you saw it in 4D.
Oh my god, y'all, 4D
What
is
does that mean?
It's so cool. Okay, you know those like motion rides at Disney World? Or like sometimes you find them in zoos these days.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what
Yeah.
I'm talking about? There was one that used to be called like Body Works or something.
Or like Star Tours.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
seats
Yeah,
move
yeah, yeah,
around
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know what's
I
happening on the
get
screen.
it. Thank you.
It's that, but in a movie theater. Like the seats legitimately they move around.
And is there, like,
all up
wind
and,
and,
down,
like,
there's,
splashes
Yeah, there's
and-
wind that blows in your face, and like when the alien comes on screen, there's like this little sensor in the back where it like lets out a little puff of wind, so you can feel something tickling your neck or on your ankles.
I don't know if I like this. I'm not sure.
Oh my god, no! I'm obsessed with it. Like
I'm
I'm
not
definitely
sure.
doing it again.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers and cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I really haven't been able to shut up about A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah. Mostly because of the
But yeah,
experience
like
of
see it in 4D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, even if I hadn't, I think I would have enjoyed it. Just, I wouldn't be this excited about it.
We've
get it.
really gone back. I don't know for what reason. We've really gone back and forth on John Krasinski
and Emily Blunt. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster this whole season. But I think I'm here to say that
You've landed on pro.
big fans.
Okay, yeah.
Big fans.
Great. Great.
But Stanley Tucci's still better.
Because we assumed that
obviously.
Emily Blunt's sister and Stanley Tucci, who are together, are probably cooler than Emily Blunt. and John
Also, we got to
Krasinski.
figure out Emily
Definitely.
Blunt's sister's name.
We have to stop calling her Emily Blunt's sister.
Aw.
Les Misérables. Shall
Yes. So overall feelings of the movie. Kelsey, why don't you go first?
So like I said, first time I saw it, I mean, I was sobbing the whole time. I was profoundly moved by the end of it. And then I continued to watch it at least 5 times a year for like the next 5 years. My favorite thing to do is just have a good cry with Les Mis.
I love to have a good cry.
So I'm gonna, now my opinions have changed a little bit as I got more and more into musicals, but I'm still gonna give it an A.
Okay.
Yeah, just it has a strong emotional connection for me. It's not perfect,
Yeah.
but I love it.
Yeah, that's important. That's really important.
I feel like I have kind of gone the opposite direction. Obviously, I really disliked it when I first saw it. Like we were saying, this came out the year after we had done our production of it. So we were very precious.
Yeah.
It's your baby.
Yeah, we were very protective of Les Mis and were like offended by all the changes that they had made or whatever. So I really didn't like it at first. But now, I want to give it... There's that train. I feel like back then I would have given it somewhere in the C's.
Sacre bleu.
I think I'm gonna go with a B.
Okay, fair.
Okay.
That's interesting that your score has gone up.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think my score has gone up as well. Initially, when I saw it, I would have given it a D.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm not kidding. I was talking at the screen. I saw it with my family.
Same.
I saw it with my sister, who is also, the two of us growing up, Les Mis was a big deal for us. So
Same.
we know this musical in and out. And we were just like, what the fuck? How dare you?
Right.
The whole time. We were like, what is this new? Oh, you're just Oscar bait. Oscar bait.
Well, that's
And,
true.
it is true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
They did it for Evita as well.
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
But I was angry and I was just disappointed and I don't know. So I would have absolutely given it a D. And I would have said that's me being nice.
Right.
But
It should
today,
get enough.
I was so mad because I also, remember as well that not only had I been listening to this music and obsessed with this music and seen it on Broadway since I was a child, but also just 1 year prior, I had intensely listened to every single recording ever made of this musical, and I had arranged the entire thing by ear.
So every single change that was made was like glaringly obvious.
It was so obvious. I was like, excuse me.
But the one thing we
whole
were a little bit prepared for this because right before the movie, hadn't they done the 25th anniversary production?
Yes.
Which was like the in-concert thing.
So they had changed some lyrics. They had changed some
Changed
order.
some music
Yes.
and orders and things, which ended up being kind of the template for the way that they did the movie and subsequently the new touring productions that went
Right.
out after that.
but
Right.
wait, so Larissa, did you say what you would score it today?
I didn't yet. I think I would give it like a C+.
Okay.
B minus.
That
Yeah.
is a significant step up from
It
D.
is. It
Yeah.
is. But it's still. I'm still like. I don't.
But let me ask you. So you're obviously listening to the music a lot more closely than your average viewer is
Right.
going to be listening to the music. Was there anything that you thought, yeah, I considered doing that and I didn't because that was dumb? Or alternatively, anything you heard and thought like, I actually really like that. That was a good idea. Wish I had thought of that.
Yes, there were a couple of changes that I definitely got behind. One of them, the biggest one, I would say, is where they put "I Dreamed a Dream."
Same. I was about to say that.
Yeah, I agree.
that's a huge one. So in the musical, in the stage show, in our version of it, in every version pretty much before this movie and before the 20, I think did they change it in the 25th anniversary?
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. I Dreamed a Dream comes right after Fantine gets fired. And before she goes through all that shit and cuts her hair off and becomes a prostitute. And putting I Dreamed a Dream after she goes through all of that crap is so brilliant. It just...
Because she hasn't, where it is in the stage show, she hasn't really hit bottom.
She hasn't hit rock bottom yet. Yeah, exactly. And it really amplifies and magnifies
It does make you
the intensity
wonder,
of that song.
It makes
Yeah.
me wonder how that wasn't always
Right.
the position of the song.
Yes.
Because, like you do see her progressively go from like first she sells her hair, then she sells her teeth, then she sells her whole body.
Right.
And, you know.
You have to wonder if there was some indication in the novel. Remember, this is also an adaptation of a novel by Victor
Right.
Hugo. So I have to admit that it's been a very long time since I read it.
Yeah,
So I wonder if there is any indication in the novel that like maybe there's like some sort of monologue maybe there's some sort of scene in the novel where she
Right.
talks about where they were able to pull the song from.
Right.
Who
So,
knows?
Tom Hooper talks about this a little bit, and he does a commentary for the feature film. And he talked about how moving I Dreamed a Dream served two purposes. One, the one we just talked about, like the emotional impact is a lot stronger. And
Right.
two, he said the follow-up scene where she gets arrested, or almost arrested, he says in the book it's a lot more brutal and way more abusive towards her.
I do remember that.
And he felt like by having I Dreamed a Dream happen here, he was able to make the less scene a little less intense and just like easier for the audience to digest. And then at the same time, focus on the whole point of that interaction is Valjean swoops in and rescues Fantine. And he wanted to make that the highlight rather than more abuse comes to Fantine.
Right.
You
Because
know?
it is like one thing after the other. And the whole,
It's like beating a dead
they don't-
horse.
She doesn't sell her teeth in the stage musical.
That's from the book.
Yeah. I read the book too, but that was like
So fucking long ago.
probably 2006, 2007.
Yeah, for me it was
But I
earlier
didn't-
than that,
But
yeah.
I did read the abridged version.
Because it's really fucking long,
Yeah,
you guys.
it's real. The book, there are like whole chapters about like very specific details about like the social,
the kind of bread that he stole.
Right, well, just like
Yeah.
the societal structure of France at the time.
Yes. It's like Lord of the Rings, but for the French Revolution.
Right.
Okay, well,
And
before-
there's also a whole bunch. It's very much about Marius's family,
Yeah, there's a lot of that too. I forgot about that.
which I think was kind of an homage. They put his grandfather in it a whole bunch more
Yeah.
in the
movie.
He's not in the stage
Well,
musical.
listen,
No.
before we have to release an abridged version of this episode, let's dive in.
Yeah, we want to dive
To the
into
movie.
a recap. Yeah.
I feel like the easiest way to go through it is probably by just starting with the song, since the whole thing is
Sure.
sung through. I mean, every song is a different scene, more or
Right.
less.
Yeah.
so we start in 1815.
Correct.
Prologue.
This is the prologue, also known as Look Down. And we're in this like ship scrapyard.
Yeah.
Where I'm assuming their job is to like pull these like out of commission ships in and take them apart.
They're
or something.
basically like building military,
Right.
like French Navy boats.
Right.
That's what they call them.
Navy boats.
Navy boats.
That's what we call them around here. We call them Navy boats.
So this is the only scene where there is actually a little bit of lip syncing. The only time it happens in the whole movie, because basically it was just impossible
Are
to
we
get.
100% sure about that?
This is coming directly from Tom Hooper, so I don't know.
Is he lying about Amanda Seyfried is what I want to know.
Oh, man. They might have done some pitch correcting.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they definitely did on Russell Crowe.
I mean, yeah.
But you mean as
we'll
far
get
as-
there.
yeah.
We'll get to Cosette.
I love
I'm
Amanda
sorry.
Seyfried.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry. It's Seyfried. I'm saying her name wrong too. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We're gonna say a lot of names.
gonna say a lot of things.
incorrectly.
I'm
like
sure.
Tom Hooper.
I have
says
a Star Trek
Tveit.
podcast. I say all the names incorrectly all the
Yeah.
time.
We try.
But you mean as far as like the scale of the scene is
Right.
huge, it would have been impossible to have all of those guys.
Well,
singing
yeah, with
live.
all of the, there's water everywhere.
Yeah, you can't really get good isolated vocal sounds while people are walking around in a swimming pool.
No.
Right. But
No.
so we find out that Jean Valjean has just been paroled. He's
Yes.
been serving a 19-year sentence for stealing a loaf of bread to
Uh-huh.
feed his sister's starving children.
Right.
But we don't care
What
about
a
that.
scoundrel.
What a violent man.
and we meet Javert, played very unfortunately by Russell Crowe.
Yes.
And Javert is like, basically this scene sets up the whole, as Alex would say, the conceit of the film, which is this like Javert is hunting down Jean Valjean
Right.
for the next 2.5 hours.
And something that happens here that comes up later is that Javert, right before he tells him he can go, he's like, "Hey, grab that flag."
right.
And instead of grabbing
Grab that mast
right
from the ship.
Well, he tells him to grab the flag, and Valjean's like, "Okay," and picks up the fucking
Yeah.
mast of the ship and brings it over. So obviously, they're
Jean Valjean's strong.
super strong.
Obviously, this is a Marvel crossover. He is the Incredible Hulk.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
And
bringing Marvel
I
into
made
this.
I made a note for
love Marvel.
Javert's little blue hat, which is cute. So
Yeah.
Javert tells him that he is that he's on parole, and Valjean thinks that means he's free. It's not. He is on parole forever. He needs to check in like every month for the rest
Something
of his
ridiculous.
I mean, that
Ridiculous.
seems reasonable, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You stole a loaf of bread. You have to check in every month for the rest of your life.
And he
Yeah.
has to carry around these papers that say,
Right.
more or less, I'm unhireable.
Right. And he's trying to get it. So he goes out wandering around.
Scares some children.
He's trying to get a job. No one will hire him.
Yeah, he finds some solace in a chapel.
Yeah.
And he meets the bishop.
Bishop, who is played by Colm Wilkinson. Larissa's already crying.
Colm Wilkinson.
Yes, who he was
the original.
Yeah, but he originated the role in London or
London.
West End,
okay,
yeah.
so with Patti LuPone.
With Patti LuPone, you guys. I just will interject really quick and say when I saw his face, I cried immediately.
Yeah, but right before this, there was some interlude music that is new that I thought was very pretty.
Yes, very pretty.
While he's wandering around.
Yeah.
That isn't exactly the same as his wander around music.
Right.
But it's very pretty.
It is very pretty. I forgot to look at orchestrators and underscore people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to hold on.
Yeah.
I can share a story while we look this up.
Yeah.
So in the musical, I did not know this because I still have not seen the stage musical because it constantly sells out. Like even in college, it was selling out.
Yeah.
But in the musical, Colm Wilkinson was talking about how the lyric is, "I have bought your soul for God."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they changed it to "I have saved your soul for God" because Colm and the director Tom Hooper just felt like that was a more fitting line for a bishop.
Sure, and not
so capitalistic.
Not so capitalistic, and I feel like that gives a little bit more agency to Jean Valjean.
I think it's more inspiring for Jean Valjean instead of hearing a guy basically saying, "I've sold you to God."
Like
saying,
now
"I've
you have
saved
to be,
you,"
right.
makes him more inspired to go out and be the man that the bishop wants him to be.
Mm-hmm.
So there are just so many people credited for music for this. Obviously, like they're crediting the original writers of the musical, Alan Bobil and Claude Michael Schoenberg. They're crediting John Cameron, who is the original orchestrator for the original stage production. They're crediting like everyone who ever had a hand on this music at all.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to see
who did what.
It's really hard to see who did what. Just for reference, I am on IMDb, and it's just like there's a different arranger for the end titles. There are they used a completely different band for Master of the House.
Right.
Like it's all just like.
I wonder if this might shed some light on it. I wonder if you look up who wrote. What's that new song? Somewhere or Someday?
Schoenberg did.
It's them.
Oh, okay.
But Schoenberg was involved in the music throughout the film. Like
Right.
they did have a lot of the, the original team involved in the making of the film. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Schoenberg did the music for Suddenly. I don't know if he wrote the lyrics, but I'm positive
Alan Bobil wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just mean like there's music adapted by Trevor Nunn.
Yeah.
There is additional stage orchestrations by Stephen Metcalf. There's end titles arranger. There's additional orchestrator, music editor, and programmer. So like there are just so many. There's another music editor. There are just so many different.
It's hard.
Job, additional music, and okay. Anne Dudley, additional music producer, and music, piano, and orchestrator. Anne Dudley is one of the first women to win an Oscar for Best Original Score. She wrote the score for The Full Monty.
Interesting.
She's great.
So before I jumped the gun a minute ago, but basically Jean Valjean, when he finds solace in the chapel and we meet the bishop, later that night after the bishop's given him a warm meal and a bed to sleep in, Jean Valjean wakes up and steals
he sees where they're
all
putting
the
the silver
silver
away. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets caught super quickly, and the guards bring him back, and that's when the bishop gives him his, second chance at life, because the bishop could easily say, yes, he's a thief, arrest him, but he says, no, I gave those.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts.
I gave those to him, and you forgot
That's one of it's one of my fucking favorite parts. I love that part.
And that's when he delivers the "I have saved your soul for God" line.
Yes.
And then we go into Hugh Jackman's first big number in the movie.
Big soliloquy.
Yes.
Yeah, Valjean soliloquy.
He's in that in the movie, he's in that little what would you even call that? It's like a little chapel on the side of
Oh
the
no,
church.
we're heathens.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a little room.
It's like a little I don't know, a little prayer place.
Didn't go to Catholic church. I wouldn't know.
I did, but I don't know.
A little prayer place.
I feel like I think it might just be, who knows? It's a little chapel
That's
on
where
the side.
the nuns sleep.
Yeah.
It's the linen closet. It's
Right.
where they put all the pillows.
So he's in here and he's just basically bargaining with himself about what he's going to do.
And so,
And feeling a lot of guilt
Right.
about what just happened.
some background on this scene. He did about 17 takes of this, and it's all one shot. So
Yeah.
he
Right.
went through the whole thing 17 times.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
They used the very last take.
Oh.
And on top of that, this was one of the few scenes they actually shot in France. I think they said they were a little bit north of Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But like in order to have that look that he was on top of a mountain, they had to go on top of a mountain
Yeah.
where like cars could not access. So they had to
Right.
lug all of their gear, like
Dang.
all of it. Hugh Jackman had to climb the whole thing himself. And I mean, he's a fit guy, but like,
God.
And he's committed.
and he had
you
to
know?
do it 17 times.
Well, he is committed, and that is part of the reason why, and this is why his vocals are kind of the way that they are. Is what I've heard about this is that he does sound a little strained, like his vocals sound a little bit tired and thin because he was so thin and dehydrated. And
Oh yeah, he lost
he had put
30
himself in-
pounds, I think, for this role.
Yeah.
And he did now I don't know about this song, but before Look Down, he went on a water fast for like 36 hours to
fuck's
make himself
sake!
look
Yeah.
like more emaciated and just like, ragged.
But
Can I
that's
just
the
say,
worst
like,
thing you
let's-
can do for your
Right?
voice.
Like, think about,
In Hugh Jackman's defense, it was only
He's
for
so-
Look Down, which is like, who gives a shit?
I mean,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
that was a lot. I was like, are you okay? You're probably not
and
okay.
and
That was some Christian Bale shit.
yeah.
I love Christian Bale.
I know. I mean, have you talked about Newsies yet?
No.
Okay.
Eventually we will.
Yeah, we will.
I'm
It's
just
on the
saying,
master list.
King of New York is my jam.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay, so at the end of this part, he decides that he's going to start a new life. Mm-hmm. He is going to rip up his parole paper.
Gone are the
Very
days.
dramatically rip up his parole
Yeah.
papers.
He's
Throw
no
them off the
longer
cliff.
24601.
Right.
He is Jean Valjean.
He's Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
And so then we have a time lapse, and it's now.
8 years later.
Do they say what he changed his name to? Do we ever know? He's just Monsieur Mayor.
Yeah, I don't think it ever says.
Okay,
He's just the mayor.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is in the book. I don't remember. Yeah.
Right.
Me neither. No idea.
But so
It doesn't
skips,
matter.
So it skips to 1823. I even feel like these time lapses are different than they are in the music. I think in the
Yeah.
musical they're both 10 years,
Yeah.
and this one changes it to 8 and 9. I think instead.
I think it's just for more historical accuracy
Yeah.
in terms of like the war
yeah.
that was going on, or I don't know.
It's such
the
a small
revolution that was
difference. I
going
really
on.
don't have a problem
Yeah.
with.
But
yeah.
I
it's
do
fine.
recall, like, I can't remember the details. I didn't take notes on this, but I remember thinking, like, there was a purpose to this, whereas in Phantom of the Opera, he
There was
just,
no
like,
reason.
haphazardly changed things.
Right.
Oh my god, I hate Andrew.
Oh yeah, there were like huge changes to timeline in Phantom that are anyway
Nonsensical.
make no
I
sense.
can't.
we,
I can't.
We jump right into...
At the end of the day,
I love At the End of the Day.
same.
Yes.
Like, this is... And, again, I haven't seen the stage musical, but this is a song that just makes me think, like, they have to be doing this right, because they're showing you so much more of the city and of life going on, like, for the people that are struggling than the stage could ever show you.
Yeah.
So in the stage musical, in both At the End of the Day and The Beggars, which is what happens at the next time jump, I think.
Yeah.
The street people are gesturing to the audience. I think
Yeah.
they're like pleading with the audience
Yeah.
as if like you are the passerby, as the audience is the passerby.
Yeah.
And I feel like they captured that in this
Yeah.
like alley scene.
Yeah. This was one of those moments though that I was like, how did they record these vocals on set?
In a tunnel.
Right? I was like, this
That
doesn't
would
make
be,
sense.
That would be difficult.
it was mostly for the group vocals and a lot of these scenes. I was like, this doesn't. I don't know.
What it sounded like to me? What it sounded like to me in these sort of group numbers, it sounded like everyone was mic'd individually.
Yeah, that's very possible.
That's true.
Yeah.
They
would have to be. I mean,
because it doesn't sound big like a big
tunnel.
No, but it doesn't sound like a big choir. It sounds
doesn't.
like individual voices.
And I am going to say that is a thing that I have some like a little bit of disappointment about.
Yeah.
As a musician, when you're listening to the soundtrack recordings, they record all of the group numbers with everyone in the room.
Right.
And everyone's mic'd with choir mics, and they can do things like put reverb on it. They can, and they sound huge. It sounds enormous, and it really sounds like the way it would sound in a theater with a choir of people singing.
Yeah.
When there's so much separation, it's really hard to get that group to really sound thick and large.
I also thought that on the whole, that in the movie, the music is too quiet.
It's so quiet. Also, everything is very slow.
Yes.
Tempo-wise.
And I feel like that had a lot to do with the
recording everything.
Well, the actors were kind of
setting the tempo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that specifically is why they chose to do live singing in the movie. He wanted the actors controlling the tempo because when we've talked about this with Julie Andrews before, how one of her biggest complaints going from theater to film was they expected her to sing or to record all of the songs for the movie 2 to 3 months before they even started shooting.
Before she knew what she was going to do physically at the time.
Or what the character, just like what does the scene call for.
Right.
So to avoid that issue, they chose we're going to sing live, let the actors control it, let them control the tempo. So if they need to take an emotional beat, they can.
And I think that there's a way to do that without... There's a way to there's a middle ground here that I think didn't happen.
Very few movies have done very few movies have done this all the way through.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean it is a feat. Absolutely. It is a feat. I will say that along with this way of doing things, it brings along its own problems. And one of those problems is, number one, what I call the let it be problem, which is, I'll just go really quickly. That album was recorded top to, there's a re-release called Let It Be Naked where it doesn't have any of the Phil Spector big string arrangements, right? And when you listen to it with the way that it was released originally with the Phil Spector stuff, the vocals don't match the intensity of the recording because they weren't recorded with those arrangements in mind. And in this case,
they were just singing with a piano.
They were just singing with a rehearsal pianist.
And that's part of the thing about performing these songs is having the orchestra behind you.
So when you're recording in the studio, you have that support, right? As a singer, you have that support, you have that communication with a conductor, you have that connection as an ensemble. And doing it this way means it's putting a whole lot of pressure on the singer themselves to set the tempo correctly.
And set the intensity. And so I think there were a lot of moments probably when they were recording the orchestral parts that the orchestra and maybe the conductor were like, maybe we need to because they're not quite there. So we're trying to match and it just doesn't congeal. It doesn't come together for me, is what I mean.
As the casual observer of the group, I would say I don't disagree with any of that, but for me that made it all the more impressive. When I was watching, the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. And realized that they were only hearing, it's not even a full piano, it's a keyboard. Yeah. Just an electronic keyboard. Yeah. That they were hearing in their earpieces. I thought, holy shit, how do they do that?
It's really hard.
I can't sing a lick unless I have the full song playing in my ear. I have to match my voice to it.
And part of it
so
is
I thought that was really impressive.
Especially for these film actors who are probably already self-conscious. having to sing,
yeah.
having to sing all this.
With the exception of a few of them,
Yeah.
like Hugh Jackman,
Right.
who have done
Broadway.
who have
Even
done
for Hugh Jackman, I think taking on Jean Valjean, which is like probably the hardest role to take on just because of its status.
and the
Status-
difficulty of the music.
Yeah.
I mean, the range is huge. He's in every fucking scene mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
It's the Jean Valjean show.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. This character carries the whole story on his back and also carries all of the music on it. I mean, that's why when we were working on our version of this, we had only one person in mind for Jean Valjean, and that was Wayne Key, who could just like destroy it because we knew he could do it. We knew he could like.
It has to be.
But to your point, most of the primary actors were not Broadway actors.
Right.
Yeah.
Samantha Barks was, and then Hugh Jackman had a lot of experience. But
The
that
boys.
Oh, and Aaron Tveit.
Yeah.
Tom Hooper says Tveit, but I'm pretty sure it's Tveit.
I thought it was Tveit.
Yeah.
Anyways, with those, three exceptions, most of them were not stage performers.
Yeah.
Whereas all of their extras, all of the
them
minor,
were.
all of them,
Yeah.
like they're. We'll
It's
talk
very
about it
obvious
later, but
to
yeah.
me when I watch it who
Pretty
is
much-
a Broadway actor and
Oh,
who is
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Pretty much all of the non-primary roles, they all came from West End. Every single
Yeah.
one of
Oh,
them.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And at the time, it was still so West End. The West End production ran until 2019.
Yeah.
Wow.
From 85 to 2019.
I mean, Samantha Marks was Eponine in that production.
She, I think, might be my favorite part of the movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I just love
yeah.
it.
We'll get there. We'll get there. It's Eponine. It's
So
Eponine.
let's go back into the
So we're-
plot. I think
Yeah,
at this
so we're at
point
end
we
of the
are
day.
at we at
And
end
so
of the
we've
day.
come
Life
to-
sucks in France.
And so
Everything's hard.
we meet Fantine. She's at some sort of textile factory.
Yeah.
It looks like.
She's got a cute little bonnet. Everyone
Yeah,
with their cute little
and-
bonnets. I love
Their
the costumes in this movie. The
aprons.
costumes are excellent.
Yeah, the way that they all match is really cool. The lighting in that room is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like all of that. And all the ladies are just kind of gossiping about
Yeah.
her.
Oh, the foreman is a Broadway guy
listen.
for sure.
Oh, I feel like the foreman was. I feel like I've seen him. I'm pretty sure that he played Thénardier on
That checks out.
Broadway or West End or something.
Just looking at his
think
face, I'm
it's-
like, yeah, he's a Thénardier.
Yeah.
I think it's Thénardier.
Thénardier, whatever. I'm not French,
I know. Also, like everyone in this musical has a Cockney accent, so
which doesn't make any sense.
Lovely
I was watching
Yeah,
it. I
it's
was
bad.
I was rewatching it this morning, and JJ was like, "Again, why are they all British?" I was like, "I don't know.
we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah, they were British on Chernobyl. Like,
Right.
we can't, yeah, this is
Right.
it's not a thing
Kelsey,
we figured out.
Kelsey, it's the same way in the stage show too.
Yeah.
It's just the Cockney is a way to
Denote
to show
class.
Yes,
Poor,
exactly,
poor European.
Yes.
exactly.
But so okay, they're in the warehouse, and the
And
foreman is gross, and the ladies are bitchy.
And the bitchy lady finds the letter.
She has a letter from the Thénardiers.
What is her name in the
God, I
show?
never
It's like
get
worker number
Doesn't
one. or
matter.
something.
Yeah.
Regardless,
She finds a letter, and so she's like, "Oh, you're sending money to like." She has this thing to hold over Fantine, which is that
She's like, oh, I'm going to tell the foreman you're not a virgin.
and it's
Right.
basically because the foreman flirts with Fantine the most because she's pretty, and they
Yeah.
feel threatened by this. And so yeah, they get into a fight. Valjean shows up as Monsieur le Maire because
this
he's now the
also-
mayor and the owner of a factory.
Right, and this also explains why this makes some sense as far as a change. Because he comes in and he's like, "What's going on here?" And then he sees Javert, and he's
it
like,
also created an excellent GIF.
"Yes." Oh, with him looking over the.
But yeah, because Tom Hooper was saying how he was really confused. Like, Jean
did-
Valjean is he's such a good guy. Why would he ever turn away from what was happening to
Right.
Fantine?
Yeah, I mean,
So
and
they
in the
added-
musical, it's like he's really busy.
He's just like, "I'm
He's
busy.
just-
I gotta go."
He's very busy. He's got a lot
Yeah,
going on.
which characteristically doesn't exactly add up.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You're right. And so this makes sense for why he's like, "Oh, gotta go."
Yeah.
And he's like, you
And I
figure it
use
out.
that GIF all the time. All the time. It's such a great FOMO GIF.
Russell Crowe looking down.
Looking through the window. Oh, it's so
It
good.
was like us looking at Australia 6 months ago.
Yep, exactly.
I really don't know that I've seen this one.
Oh, yeah.
The
Text it to
GIF.
me.
Oh
I
yeah,
will.
it's like it's just when
Text it to me now.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
Oh my
I'm
god.
kidding. But,
Wait, I
but
am
you,
gonna find
you
it.
are, yeah.
it's when Valjean looks up and Javert's looking down from the office.
No, I
oh.
can picture it in my head.
But
I've
you've
just
never seen the GIF.
I've just seen the movie that many times. Like I
Right.
know exactly what you're talking about.
It's this one.
So basically,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
So good.
it's so
Yeah.
good.
He looks like a kid that's been grounded and
He
like
really
isn't allowed
does.
to go out.
He really does. He's like, hey guys, can I play? Oh. Oh.
So basically, Valjean has left it to the foreman to decide what happens to Fantine, and,
Yeah.
and the foreman is leaving it to the ladies to tell him what happened. And of course, they're like, "She's a slut. You should fire her." Blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
He's just like, okay,
They use the word
yeah.
slut
A lot.
We
a
don't-
lot of times.
Yeah.
We don't hire sluts around here, so he
Like, oh.
literally throws her out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he says, "Right, my girl, on your way. This should be where I dreamed a dream is,
Yes.
but it's
But
not."
instead-
I mean,
we
I can
get-
hear the transition in my mind.
But
you know?
instead, we get Valjean saving Fauchelevent.
Well, and also he actually meets. He also like actually meets Javert as Monsieur le Maire.
Right.
Yes, there's that
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
And I think that was, I mean, wasn't that added?
Oh yeah,
as
you're-
well. That was, I think that was
all
added.
there are a bunch of these like little meetings between them that
Yeah.
are not
Yeah.
in the
Not in the show. Yeah.
But yeah, he has to go outside. Like somebody says, there's been an accident.
Right, and there is in
The
the,
run-
sta-
the
in
cart
the,
scene.
in
The
the
runaway
stage
cart.
in the stage show. You don't actually know this character's name who gets rescued. His name is Fauchelevent
How do you know it from the movie?
because he meets him again at
'Cause he
the
comes
end.
back.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but how
Yeah.
do you does he say his name in
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, he
He
does.
says, "Hey,
Oh.
I'm Fauchelevent."
I think I'm just like,
Hello.
there's like occasional French in the film that I just don't hear.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just, it was French noise.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know. I'm the music in this part of the show I love so much.
Yeah,
It's so good.
like the runaway cart
Dun,
music.
dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
Dun,
you guys,
dun,
the
dun,
Runaway
dun,
Cart's
dun,
my
dun.
favorite song. It's my favorite.
So Javert witnesses Valjean lift this huge cart off of this man.
This tempo
And
is
he-
incredibly slow. I was like, I felt like I was conducting again. I was like,
Well, and hey, this time
Yeah.
it's all on them because there's no singing going on here.
Yeah.
That's all on the orchestra.
let's
He lifts it up, and that's the first sign to Javert that this is the man,
Yeah.
the only man I've ever seen lift.
Yeah.
Who could lift
no,
that
that's
much.
what
A
I
lot.
mean. It's that part where they're singing that is so slow. I'm like,
Oh,
why
when
is
he's
it so
like-
slow?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Like, yeah.
I've
that whole
never,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
I mean, Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman was probably tired at that point.
I mean, I get it, but I'm like tempo. Come on.
You would be a relentless director.
God. I really was not. I was like, you guys can do whatever you want. It's fine.
just thank you for doing it.
Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much.
So then we cut to Fantine, who was
Oh yeah, and their
Yeah.
lines switched in there too. I mean, I wrote every single time I heard lines that were switched.
yes. There,
I was like,
I'm sure there was.
yeah.
Yeah,
it
we
was,
go
say
down-
what you must, don't leave it there. Was switched with "Forgive Me, Sir."
Oh, Yes.
Yeah.
For,
And I was like,
I don't
sure.
know why.
I was like, fine. I was like, it's okay.
So Javert basically tells him that like, you remind me of yourself.
You remind me of the babe.
Yeah. And they kind of leave it there for now.
Yeah. Even though he says, say what you must, don't leave it there. They
Right.
just leave it there.
They do leave it there. He's like, I've only owned one other guy who can do that, but
Okay.
see you later. I got my eye on you, basically. So we cut to Fantine, who is going down a dark path.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very visually dark.
Yes.
Our music numbers, the Ducks, lovely ladies.
Yes.
As it's better known.
So first,
The song that Alex sang in the grocery store,
yes.
in a grocery cart, in front of people.
When I was a child, I thought. When I was a child, no. Listen, there's a good explanation. When I was a child, I was very not obsessed, but I took note of like all my mom's girlfriend's perfumes. And so I was like, oh, that smells like Sonia. That smells like Deborah.
This is exactly like some stupid bullshit I saw on BuzzFeed that was like, tell us you're gay without telling us you're gay. Like as a child,
perfume.
I loved the perfumes.
But when I heard this song, it was like, I smell women. I was like, oh,
like your friends.
Yeah, it's like mom's friends and their perfumes.
And he's saying
So I
lovely ladies.
So in the grocery store, I'd be like, I smell women. Anyway.
Oh, if only iPhones had existed at the time when your mom could have gotten a video
Oh my
of
God.
that.
I know.
I would pay money for that. I really
We need
would.
to. This is why I'm going to figure out time travel.
Yes.
Just for this.
Just for another little snippet of Alex Caress's origin story.
Oh my God. So
who doesn't want more?
Who doesn't?
So things are progressing pretty quickly for Fantine. She sells her locket first, and then her hair, and then her teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway is excellent in this whole
Yeah,
sequence.
absolutely, yeah.
I mean, she is like, generally for me, she's very earnest, and it's a lot. Like you know, like how Lin-Manuel Miranda is really earnest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she is.
That's true. That's true.
She goes and gets it here.
Yeah.
Like the earnestness does her favors in this role.
I would call her, for the most part, she is a precocious adult.
Yes.
She's the theater kid that's
Yeah.
grown up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she obviously takes this role really seriously,
Yes.
and her commitment comes through in the correct way in this role.
Yes.
She is
Yes.
also an extremely self-aware person.
Yeah.
Because there was a little while after this big win, after the "it came true" moment at the Oscars.
People were such assholes about that.
Listen, I'm one of them, and I stand by it. But
I think we all were. I made fun
after
of
that,
her.
she was like, I could tell that people needed a little bit of a break from me, so I took a step back. You know, focused on my personal life. And I'm like, oh my God, like you didn't have to do that, Annie Hathaway.
Everyone calls her Annie.
It is Annie.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
No, she
checks out.
recently said that she's always wanted to be Annie, not Anne. And actually, when I was listening to the commentary, which was recorded, you know, way back in 2012,
I'm sure he called her Annie.
He calls her Annie. I'm like,
Yeah.
it checks out.
Yep.
She really does
There
go
we
by
go.
Annie.
There it is.
Yeah, Annie. I don't know why I ever have had bad feelings towards her. Probably the same reason that I've had bad feelings towards John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, which means I need to reconsider my feelings about Annie Hathaway.
Yeah, just think of her as Annie Hathaway.
It's hard for me to even say that name without going, little Annie Hathaway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Princess Diaries.
I like her. It's just, I feel like, for the most part, people don't like precocious people.
It's true.
But it's
true.
It's fine.
And there's also like internalized misogyny there too.
Sure,
Yeah, there's
absolutely.
absolutely internalized misogyny.
For sure.
And I just noted it in myself because when you pointed out that Lin-Manuel Miranda is Anne Hathaway, I was like, oh, crap. Like, he totally is. Why don't I hate him? But I will say this. Sometimes I am very annoyed by him. It was very unpopular to say.
I know.
I feel like the tides are turning on that.
He's not good in Hamilton.
No.
He's not. But he did the whole thing, so that's great. Yay, him. But he's not a good actor.
I also have problems with Hamilton.
I do too.
Okay, great.
We'll do an ASMR episode about Hamilton.
Anyhow. Okay, lovely ladies.
So, and then she is recruited to prostitution by a friendly prostitute who is played by
the first Eponine.
exactly Frances Ruffelle, who originated the role of Eponine.
I thought it was unfortunate that they relegated her to the role of, literally, this is how she's credited, whore number one.
Yeah.
When Colm Wilkinson got to be the bishop.
and he got to have Eponine's parts at the end of the show.
But
Yeah.
when we get to
I
that,
mean-
like that was a choice that I stand by. There was very good reasoning for it.
Well, you can defend your
No, I
your
will.
position
I will.
later on.
And I will win.
We can also say, honestly, there are many more named male secondary parts in this show than there are female
named part.
There are.
I think mostly because
there's a
of the
name-
students.
There's a name for
and the businessman who is about to come up that is like, look, she scratched me on my face. That guy, the bishop.
Fauchelevent.
Yeah. there are a lot more male bit parts than there are female
and I
bit
think
parts.
that's because in the book these are characters that are like, even though in the musical Fauchelevent isn't a speaking role,
in the book
he's got more of a role, so he already had a name.
Yeah.
But so anyway, she is
Victor
recruited.
Hugo wasn't naming his female characters.
No.
By the way, though, I mean, since we're almost there, well, actually, let's talk about I Dreamed a Dream, and then I have a story about the arrest scene.
Oh, yeah. So she's recruited by these prostitutes, and Frances Ruffel, and she gets her first client, and he takes her into a boat. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ships are used for a lot of imagery in the movie, at least. I don't know how much in the stage show.
Not at all.
No.
But ships are like often used as a sign of oppression. Mm-hmm. And I think it's mostly about like the sea itself rather than ships necessarily.
Yeah.
But you know how the movie starts off with them building this ship, and the worst thing that happens to her happens on a ship. And at the end of the scene, you watch her climbing these stairs with Jean Valjean and walking upwards, like walking up and away from it. You know, I definitely wouldn't have caught that myself.
The only there really isn't in the stage show. There really isn't any ship imagery other than the fact that this takes place on the docks.
Right.
You don't even really see that that's where they are necessarily.
Yeah.
So then she sings after her experience with this first client is when she sings I Dreamed a Dream.
And I mean, it is the showstopper.
Yeah.
Well,
and
okay.
it's kind of I mean, she does a fantastic.
I don't want to call it a showstopper in this instance.
Yeah.
Because there's like 4 more incredible songs at least. But it is a showstopper.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a showstopper in the sense that this is similar to what we talked about in Dreamgirls with.
Oh yeah, no, it's her total Effie moment.
This is what won her the Oscar.
And Anne Hathaway made this song her song the same way that Jennifer Hudson made that song her song. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I will say that when I was watching it, I mean, she is excellent. She is in it 100%. She is so raw. It is very beautiful. This is one of the scenes in which the close-ups of the face really work for me. But also this song. Yeah. This song, no matter who is singing it, honestly, is just fucking heart-wrenching.
Why do you think it was such a huge phenomenon when Susan Boyle sang it on Britain's Got Talent?
This fucking song is so good.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, this musical. I mean, we'll probably talk about it again later and talk about like how important this was to us. But like this musical is just full of beautiful melodies that are just so impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
And that just have so much emotion in them, and they're just fucking,
but are also simple
and easy to sing along with. Like this song is like when Jordan did it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought Jordan's my sister.
Jordan, who
friend of the podcast.
Yeah,
friend of the pod.
Who co-directed our performance of Les Mis with us and also played Fantine in our performance. I mean,
and to be clear, Larissa played Eponine and I played Javert.
And Alex was Javert. Sorry, Russell Crowe, but Alex was better. Alex was so much better, and he had the range. But like this song is like, this song can that's the other thing. Like this song can carry it too.
Yeah.
So it's not just Anne Hathaway for me. It's like, oh, she had the material she's working with is. Yeah. This is A++
But you would
material.
see that you would say she nailed it.
Oh yeah, she nailed it. Yeah, she nailed it.
And she did it in the way, and that's the thing about this song is that like, because it's so good, you can do it in the way that suits you best.
Yes.
And this is the way that suits her best.
Yes.
And it still translates.
And would we not all agree that the fact that she got to control the tempo of this number lent a lot towards how good of a performance it was?
Absolutely, because she is very musical. There are some performers in this cast that are very musical, and I would say that the ones that aren't traditionally considered to be singers, like Anne Hathaway and actually Sacha Baron Cohen, who we'll talk about later.
Oh, we love Sacha Baron Cohen.
They are both so musical in their interpretations of this music, so they can take the melody. They put the right emphasis in the right spots.
Right.
They're not struggling with how to interpret the melody. So she is obviously, listening to her sing, a very musical-minded person.
She said the way she went about it was she learned how to sing the song first, and that was it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She learned how to sing the song without any nuance, no emotion,
That's how you're
nothing.
fucking supposed to do it, man.
Yeah.
Learn
That's
the
how you're
song
supposed
first.
to do it.
And then she spent like another 6 months working on adding the acting and emotion to it. And it shows because, you know what? I thought this was super interesting. She won Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards for this performance. She was the first person to ever win for a performance that was totally sung through. Or in other words, she had no dialogue. She had zero spoken dialogue. She sang the whole time. Now, technically, I should take that back. Joel Grey, who we talked about in our last episode with Cabaret.
Yeah.
He was technically the first person to win an Academy Award.
With no lines.
With no lines. That's the thing. Cabaret is very much not a sung-through musical.
No.
I mean,
No.
it's got way more dialogue than songs, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he
But
and
Joel
Liza Minnelli are the
Grey-
only ones that are singing, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Joel Grey doesn't have any spoken dialogue. So
Yeah.
I think technically the honor goes to him, but I would say it really goes to Anne Hathaway. And in either event, she's definitely the first woman to win
Yes.
that
Yeah.
award.
Yeah.
or-
I mean,
For that performance.
she worked her fucking ass off for this movie.
Can you imagine if she
Also-
didn't win?
She
like,
actually cut all her hair off. Like,
Yeah.
that was
on
happening
camera.
on camera.
On camera.
Yeah.
Also-
can you imagine though if she had y'all? She actually got her teeth pulled too.
What?
No, I'm kidding. No, she
Okay.
didn't. She didn't.
The things that
this
actors
girl-
do these days for a
They
role,
pulled
you
her
know?
teeth. She became emaciated. But no, seriously, if she hadn't won, like, I would have been worried about her mental health. Like, she really put herself through it for like 13 minutes of screen
Yeah.
time.
And this this performance is one
take.
One take.
Yeah.
yeah.
That is very impressive.
Yeah, so they
That's
did,
very impressive.
They did I Dreamed a Dream, I want to say 8 times, I think it was.
This is such an emotional song to sing that many times,
Yeah.
too. It's like, I mean, both of these, Valjean soliloquy too, is this.
Four takes. Which I think
nice.
is the smallest amount for any time that they mentioned how many
I
takes
mean, it
they
sounds
did.
like she worked on it for a year, so
Yeah.
she was
For-
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no,
she
they
was
really
she was
did.
always ever going to be.
I mean, yes.
This movie also got 9 weeks of rehearsal, which is really unusual. Like, usually you get 3.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, they got triple that.
Well, I guess if you have to perform all this shit live, you need that.
Yeah. I mean, well, think about how much rehearsal the stage production gets.
Right. And add cameras and
Yeah.
and hitting your marks and all of that shit to it.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to move on from this, but just like one last note, because I thought this was so interesting. Another choice that Annie made in the song is, do you guys remember there's a moment in the song where she's almost looking directly at the camera?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's during the line, making love to one already dead.
Yeah.
So it's like a heavy moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a very heavy song. Like, she totally did that on her own. That wasn't directed. She just thought that would be like a really powerful moment
Yeah.
to try and, connect with an audience on a very uncomfortable level.
Yeah.
I think that's really, like, A, kudos to her for coming up with that. B, kudos to Tom Hooper for allowing his actors to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's really interesting when actors get to be part of the collaborative process.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I guess I wouldn't, like, I've never been on a movie set, but I would never assume that's part of the actor's job.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I
Like,
think
their
it
job is to
depends on
show
the
up and know the
director.
lines.
Yeah, yeah. I think it totally depends on the director. Like, some directors are like, yeah, let's try one where you just do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
some directors are like, it needs to be exactly this way.
Right.
And that, again, and then in addition to that, that is a very specific kind of choice that only a film actor would make.
Yeah.
Like, that is not something that a stage actor necessarily would take into account.
Because they're not even thinking about
They're not thinking about the
cameras.
camera.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really interesting thought that she was the only one that could have. Well, not the only one, but
but a movie actor,
being a film actor is what
like she came up with it,
decision.
and it worked. Like he talks about how like I would never like recommend an actor look directly at the camera or close to, but when I saw her do it, I was so moved. I mean,
tell that to John Krasinski though.
We love him.
There were
we
some
love
times. There
John
were some
Krasinski
times,
now.
and there were some times in Master of the House where they were looking at the camera.
I mean,
but that's a different thing.
That's a different.
And there's a lot.
We're not even there yet.
Yeah. All
I
right,
mean,
so
I have
let's-
so much to say about that.
All right, so let's keep going. So
Fun
She gets arrested.
She gets
We can
arrested.
just blow through this. She gets arrested. It's awful.
Yeah.
But
Javert
Jean
comes-
Valjean saves her.
Javert comes to arrest her. Valjean comes to save her, and this is when he makes the realization because Fantine tells him that I was the one that you.
Yeah, you let them fire me, you asshole. This is your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
And kudos to her for saying so.
Right? And she spits in his face.
Yeah.
And that's also
Well, she
like a
doesn't really
really
have-
beautiful line,
Oh,
like
yeah.
singing part for her when she says, "But you let your four men send me away."
It's
That's one of my favorite parts.
we talked about this a lot when we were doing.
Send me away. Yeah,
Yes,
something
you were
about this.
there.
Okay. But something about
Never did no wrong. Okay. So obviously,
I will talk over you.
so obviously,
She's dealt with this
and
for
it's,
years, you guys. This has been a reality for her for years.
And obviously, it touches us, and it touches Valjean as well.
Right.
His heart is moved, and he comes to her defense, and he decides to help her. And then what happens here? Oh, Javert then confesses to Valjean that he suspected him.
He's apologizing, yeah.
Right. He's like, oh, I thought you were this guy. I thought...
He's apologizing for being correct in his assumptions.
Not to be Team Javert, but he was correct.
He was right.
He was right.
But he was like, well, we found this other guy. We found this guy that is him. And he's been arrested and he's going to court or whatever. So now Jean Valjean is having...
I want to add, though, I think this is important for what happens to Javert later on.
Yeah.
This is the scene that really, like, sets up that Javert, like, does have a moral code.
He's like, punish me.
Yeah, he's not, like... He is the worst, but he's not the worst. Like, he has his own code, and he applies it to himself as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean,
You know?
that's his character is rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
His character is dogma.
Yes.
I can 100% relate to rules. The difference between me and Javert is if I don't want to follow it, I give myself an exception.
Yeah.
He does not. Like, he is very, very, like, honorable. Like,
Yes.
I think strict adherence to the rules can be a negative trait in a
Yes.
person.
Well, and
and in this
obviously-
case, it
Well,
goes
it can be
too
unhealthy.
far.
It can be unhealthy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it is unhealthy for
It goes
him.
too far.
And that's how he... That is the framework that gives his life meaning.
Yes, that's how he makes sense of the world.
Right.
Exactly.
And later we learn, or was it previously, but we learned that he...
is gay.
Possibly.
I could see that.
I mean,
But
there's
he
fan
had-
fiction. There is fan fiction about this.
He had
No
an
joke.
unfortunate
God.
upbringing. He
Yes.
was born into poverty.
yes.
He says, just like Jean Valjean. And
he gave himself structure by following rules.
Right. Like, was it the right thing to do? Are you overboard? You know, there's a lot of questions there. But
And even Valjean
there's an
says...
understandable, like, humanity to him.
And Valjean understands that. He says later on,
You're just doing your job.
All you were doing was doing your job. I don't...
Oh God, we'll get there
blame you
because
for it.
oh my God, that part though.
So...
Yeah, so he admits it, and then
So now
Valjean has a
Val-
crisis of conscience.
Right. And that's when we go to Who Am I, right?
And Valjean's crisis is about the fact that even though he's off the hook, this innocent person is going to jail
Right.
instead of him.
So he's
Right.
weighing the consequences
He's
of
not,
this.
and he's not necessarily planning on going to jail. He just wants to go let this guy off the hook
Yeah.
and then run away again.
Yeah. Although he is also thinking about his workers. He's thinking about how they all rely on him for their
Right. He's in between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think, I think I misspoke earlier. I think earlier I just said during his soliloquy, that's when he claims Jean Valjean. At first, he has to deny Jean Valjean. In this scene, he's owning.
He's claiming Jean Valjean.
He's owning 24601
Yes.
Jean Valjean.
And this is like this part of the stage play. Like, this is the moment where you're like, Jean Valjean is a fucking rock star. This part, the 24601 part, when Colm Wilkinson does it in the stage show, holy shit.
He also rips open his shirt and shows his tattoo. That says
oh my God. It is so beautiful. It is so amazing. I saw Colm Wilkinson do this on Broadway.
You did?
Yes. It is incredible. And also, like, Colm Wilkinson's voice is fucking amazing.
How old are you?
I'm like 85 years old. I'm 2 years away from 40.
It was a revival or like something
he
or other.
He came back and did it again.
You didn't. Yeah, you weren't
not
there
in the 80s.
like 86.
No, in 86 I was 3 years old. Maybe I'm mixing this up. No, I also saw Colm Wilkinson as the Phantom.
Yes,
we talked
in
about
Phantom
this.
of the Opera.
We love Colm as the Phantom.
It was strange. I was confused.
Basically, seeing him as anything other than Valjean is
very weird.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great as the Phantom.
I mean,
though.
he's great.
Very good.
He's an incredible tenor. That's the thing. Like, he is a true tenor. So when he hits 24601 and he gets that high note, it's like, bam.
But it's the same thing with the
star.
Phantom. Like, if you've been the Phantom, you've probably also been Jean Valjean.
Yeah. I bet they just rotated.
They just recycle them.
And that's like,
and if you've been Marius, you've been you've been
Raoul.
You've been Raoul.
That too. Yeah, they all just recycle the parts.
Oh my God.
Okay, so he confesses. He's like, I'm 24601. I'm Jean Valjean. And he runs away. He's like...
But like, hilariously, they're like, you're something must be wrong with you.
No, they're like, oh, hey, wait, you just confessed. And he's like, tell Javert to meet me at the hospital. And they're just like, okay.
But there is one guy that's like, you must not be feeling well. And he's like, no, I'm fine.
They're like, you should stay here because you just confessed.
Yeah, he's like, no, I will not.
He's like, just tell
Here I
Javert
go.
I'll be at the hospital.
And then, oh my God, Fantine's death.
So this is, yes, Come to Me, which is Kelsey is like twice as long in the stage show.
I would say that was a good choice here. It's long enough.
No.
For me, listen,
Both of us are like, absolutely not. No way.
Listen, for me, the movie is two different parts.
Sure.
And it's basically like pre-Fontaine and post-Fontaine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am very much post-Fontaine. Like, all of my favorite stuff happens post-Fontaine.
Well, this sets up the conceit of
Well,
the rest of the
and
show.
I will also say that a lot of my reasoning for not liking these cuts is because this music is so fucking beautiful, and I don't want to stop listening to it. I want to. They cut "Hurry near, another day is done."
Right.
Don't you hear? Oh my God.
And this is also it's the same music as On My Own.
Yeah.
You know, it's
They bring it back, and it sounds new
Right.
every time they bring back this melody. It sounds brand new.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like what you're singing now sounds like, what's it called? Basically when he dies.
on
Yeah,
this page,
also, yeah.
I
Yeah.
write my life.
It is the.
It's all the same music, but it's done in different. It's all the same melody, but it's done in different ways.
The melody
to
is
make it,
it's always a confessional.
Yeah.
It's always a character coming to a realization of something, like coming to a realization of their death, coming to a realization that they'll never be with the person that they love, coming to a realization that they have to tell the truth about their whole life.
Yeah.
You know? So it's beautiful leitmotif.
Yes.
For a concept, not a character.
And
it's very cool.
It's
Yeah.
but it's right. You're right. It's a confessional. It's not ever like really to anyone. Well, I guess at the end it is, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so they removed a verse.
It's always characters that die.
Yes. They removed a verse, but during the song she is hallucinating that Cosette is there,
Right.
which isn't shown in the stage show, but
I really like the way. See, I would have guessed that it was shown in the stage show just because they use like a very simplistic technique in this
the
moment.
double exposure thing.
Well, and just
like
having the
sheer
gauze.
curtain.
Yeah, they've got gauze hanging, and by having her backlit or choosing if she's going to be frontlit or backlit, that either makes her visible or just a silhouette.
Yeah.
Which seems like such a theater.
It would be easy to do on
you know,
scrim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have her behind the screen.
that would be such a stage thing to do.
It would be really easy on stage.
But in this case, they didn't. They just found that it worked really well, and they didn't need special effects, and they didn't want to make her like. I mean, they want her to be a quote unquote ghost, but not like too
creepy.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
supposed to be sweet. It's
nothing
supposed to be
silly.
like the last thing that Fantine is thinking of as she's dying is her daughter.
and notably, you guys, in one of the earlier drafts of this screenplay, it was supposed to be like Fantine's last, like the last thing that she sees was supposed to actually be Javert coming through the door. And it was supposed to be like that much more tragic of a death for her. That like
Give
the
her a
last thing
fucking
she
break.
sees.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
and thankfully they thought like that's too much.
in
That's
the
too
original
much.
stage notes, it says Fantine dies with a smile.
Yeah. Yeah. And she does
And
die
she
with
does,
a smile in
which
the
is-
movie.
A little
Yeah, it
creepy,
was
A little
but
bit creepy, yeah. A little bit creepy.
but she does. But it's sweet.
yeah,
that
it is sweet.
It's sweet because she dies
Because she's
smiling
a-
because she thinks she's seeing her daughter.
She thinks she's seeing her daughter, and she knows that Cosette
she's
is
gonna
going to
be
be
safe.
taken care of
Yeah.
Right.
because Valjean is going to do that for her.
Okay, we have the confrontation.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a lot to say. One of the things I have to say is that in my notes I wrote, "Fuck you, Tom Hooper, for making these actors sing while they're doing a choreographed fight scene."
Yes.
Why the fuck? Why? Number one. Number two. This is, again, one of the most fucking rock star moments of the entire show. The confrontation is the fucking shit. You and Wayne doing it together is amazing. And it's just like, man, we haven't said it yet, but like, Russell Crowe is not good at singing.
Yeah. And so now
And-
you're gonna make him learn fencing and do that
And
while
do that
he's trying
at
to
the
sing.
same fucking time. This piece of music requires a very practiced instrument in order to perform it. And one of these people does not have that instrument, and the other person has the wrong instrument.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this. It's them coming together as like this equal
Foils.
force. This equal
Yes.
force against each other.
Yes. It's
And-
supposed to be explosive.
Yes.
Yes, the music.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be feeling the friction and the fact that the intensity from both.
Yes.
And to have one side of it completely dropping the ball.
And then also have them both out of breath because they're fighting, like they're physically moving their bodies so much. Like it's removing all of the focus again from the music.
The intensity in this scene is supposed to be
Musical.
and the fact that they're just staring at each other saying these lines.
Yeah, that they're screaming. They're basically
doesn't-
screaming at each other in the face.
It's one of those things where it's like, did they think that it makes us feel like they think the audience is stupid, that they're not going to realize where the intensity is coming from unless
need
there's
action.
a fucking sword fight.
Right. Yeah. We need Valjean to pull something off the wall, and we need them to be hitting each other in order to understand that there's...
I just want to add, I love
Sorry.
this movie, and I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, none at all.
So when
Like, I didn't even take notes on this scene. Like, my
so-
next notes start with
my God.
Castle on a Cloud.
I
Like,
love this. This is wonderful. This is
no,
great, though.
no idea
This is
what
great,
you guys
though.
are talking about. I will say, though,
like
I
right
don't...
after Fantine dies, Valjean
yeah.
and Javert are having that fight in the hospital.
I recall a fight.
Yeah, it doesn't, and that's the thing. It doesn't seem like much.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like
This
it has
is
much
proving our
consequence.
point also, yes.
Yeah, it's
Something happens.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it has much consequence.
For me, it's an action happens
Yeah.
on screen.
Exactly. And that is exactly the problem, because in the stage play and in the concept album, and if you listen to the original Broadway cast or the original London cast album, this is like, oh shit. This is an oh shit moment. This is like a fuck moment. I am wanting to jump here.
And
it's like fucking incredible. And like you come into this scene in this movie, and I'm just like, I was so excited. I was like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? This is one of the best moments in the musical.
And for somebody,
it's just like, what?
And even Hugh Jackman, for somebody who, it seemed like his, as far as
Very passionate.
his physical the physical aspects of the movie, he's put aside vanity a lot.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really put aside vanity in his vocal performance.
Yeah.
And there are times when it's just like, just go for it, growl, do
Just
something,
scream it.
and he doesn't. Like,
The only time he does is when he's crying.
yeah.
That's the only time he does.
But like,
He
my
doesn't-
race is not yet run. He doesn't do it anyway.
I know.
We can move on.
listen to Colm Wilkinson do it.
Yes.
Listen to Colm Wilkinson do it, because it is. I'm like, who made this instrument that you have? Like, shit.
So Valjean jumps out the window.
Sorry.
And we cut right to Cosette.
And we cut, and this, I swear to you tonight, there is no place for you to hide.
Right.
Time to live within my, that whole part. I swear to you, I will be there. All of that is cut.
There's like a kind of a softer moment that happens right after this when they're talking to each other, and
It's just a part we both really like, and it's gone.
So Castle on a Cloud, Cosette.
Is there more Prosecco?
I know.
No. There's
Sorry.
a tiny bit.
Castle on a Cloud.
Castle on a Cloud. So
We see young Cosette for the first time.
Yes.
She's real sad.
Yeah.
I don't like this song. I don't care
It's
for
not-
it. I
it's-
could go without it.
it's not my favorite. It's fine. She's sad.
Yeah.
Enter Helena Bonham Carter.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is where the proper casting, I'm like, yes.
They hit the nail on the head with
Sacha
Sacha Baron
Baron
Cohen and
Cohen.
Helena Bonham Carter.
They are excellent in these parts.
And this is another example of what I was talking about earlier with like letting the actors have freedom to, come up with new ideas and really control their characters.
I don't think you can have Sacha Baron Cohen in a movie and not let him do something.
Well, I just
what
didn't
mean?
realize. I had no idea how involved he was. So all of the gags, basically, that he pulls.
All the grifting stuff.
Yeah. That was all Sacha Baron Cohen.
I am
That's
not
awesome.
surprised. Not
Like,
surprised.
It wasn't choreographed. He just had these, like, wouldn't this be funny? Wouldn't this be funny? Like, the whole bringing Santa inside.
Love it.
That was him. Like,
Love it.
Like, chopping off the
cat's tail?
The cat's tail and putting it in. That was him.
Oh, my
Stealing
God.
the glasses. Like, all of it. All
It's
of
all
it
great.
was Sacha Baron
It's
Cohen.
all great. They're both great. He is, and I'll just bring this back from before. He is very musical.
Yeah.
He is, his delivery, he very much understands musical nuance. And I was very impressed. I remember being impressed the first time I saw it, and I was impressed yesterday.
I could be wrong, but it seems like he has enough joy doing this role that it seems like he's familiar with the show.
I think he probably
I think he absolutely
knows.
is.
Yeah.
I think he
because,
knows it.
Get this. Sacha Baron Cohen suggested to Tom Hooper that he watch Fiddler on the Roof. Because that's where he was getting a lot of his own inspiration
I
from.
love it.
And now I understand when you were saying that he could be Tevye.
Yes.
Totally could. You're right. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen, you have a career in musicals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
And
you
then-
absolutely do. He was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Tom Hooper watched Fiddler on the Roof at his recommendation. And basically the scene in the bar where, there's that like dueling, dance scene where it looks like they might conflict. There might be a fight, but they just dance instead.
Yeah.
So that was the main inspiration for Master of the House.
Interesting.
For the way they shot it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I like it. I liked this.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is also very obvious. listening to it that this is a different ensemble. There is like a hilarious fiddle player.
There's a different
bunch of fiddle player
band,
moments and
I'm
stuff.
not gonna lie.
I like it.
In the audio commentary or the feature commentary, he just calls them a gypsy band a lot.
Oh.
So I wish I knew more about that, but
We
I
don't use that word anymore.
Let's not do that.
I have to say,
one
I
thing
don't
that
even
really-
know if
whoops.
I knew that was a word we don't use in 2012.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's hard to think back to 2012.
yeah, what even was it?
Right?
What was 2012? I don't know.
You know, not to like excuse
What even was 2019? I
Tom
don't
Hoover,
even know.
but like
Yeah.
truly, I don't
Yeah.
remember time anymore.
I don't remember when
I
that
don't recall
became-
how
Yeah.
things were. So you know,
Yeah, this is excellent. I want to say quickly, I love the Helena Bonham Carter part where she's singing her part where she's
I used to
insulting her,
dream
yeah,
that I would
and
meet
she's
a prince.
and she's fucking grifting the guy the whole time.
Yes.
I
oh yeah,
loved
no.
that.
So that was also improvisation from her.
Excellent.
She
Excellent.
like originally it was not written where she would be quite so physical with the guy. Like she wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
supposed to get on top of him, and she's like, no.
No, this is what we're doing.
how it's gonna. This is
I'm
how
gonna
it should go down.
So now it's this layer of like I'm complaining about my husband, but I'm also pretending to complain about my
Pretending to
husband,
complain.
so that
Yeah.
I can get in with you and take your money.
Yeah,
And
because
more
we're business partners.
importantly,
She and her husband are business partners.
make him truly believe that she is
Yes.
interested.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so like their
That was all
dynamic is
Helena.
great. Like it is like, and those parts, like you have to cast people who have comedic timing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cast people that understand musical nuance.
Yeah.
And they did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they did a great job. They were perfect.
I really don't think they could have done any better.
No, it was
No
that
notes.
was perfect.
No
notes.
notes.
Yes, no notes
The
for
only
this.
thing that I was really grossed
Except
out.
for this one.
No, I was really grossed out when he peed in the wine.
Yeah, that was gross.
Oh yeah, that is gross.
Yeah.
But that's also
so is
like
he.
if you've seen enough Borat, then it's like okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So,
Or like,
so
any of his
Valjean,
characters.
Yeah, true.
Valjean finds Cosette wandering in the wood.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's like, "Let me be your dad."
Yeah, he brings her back.
It's like, okay,
He brings her back.
that's it.
That's literally what happened.
They can
Yep.
tell, and he basically tries to buy her off of the Thénardiers, and they can tell that he has money, so they're trying to get more and more.
Yeah. Oh, I love the bargain, but they cut my favorite part of the bargain, which is the duet melody,
Right,
the duet
the, like, the
harmony part.
fifths,
Yeah,
right?
the fourths.
Fourths. Yeah.
Another moment
What
of great
to do?
improvisation, though, the whole Cosette thing that
Yeah.
was, or Colette versus
No, that's in the-
Cosette.
that's in the
That's
show.
actually in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm pretty
It
positive they
sounds-
talk about that being an
No,
improvisation.
No.
No,
Ooh.
that's in the show. That's in the
Very,
stage
very
show.
original to
Get
the
your
show.
story straight, Tom Hooper.
But they do they do bring it back later in the show when it's
Yeah.
and they bring it back later in the movie when it's not brought up again.
Yeah.
He
They
doesn't
might
forget
be
the-
talking about that part.
Yeah, he doesn't forget again in the stage show.
Yeah.
You know,
They might be talking about that part, but
could
also
be.
it might just be that Tom Hooper does not understand musicals and didn't really know this show very well.
he
though.
did watch it though.
He watched it, like he
That's all I
watched
know.
it.
Stage show.
I know for a fact he saw it at least one time.
Yeah, he watched it in the way that J.J. Abrams watched a couple episodes of Star Trek before he
my
decided
God.
to direct the movie in 2009.
Oh, girl, I love those
Ooh,
movies.
But I was like, excuse me, this is not a stepping stone to Star Wars. Fuck you.
I love those movies so much, and Chris Pine is a good singer. He's on my list of
is.
potential musical actors.
Right.
Dude, I love Chris Pine.
I have to put him in
Yeah.
the Rolodex.
I
Same.
love
Rolodex.
Chris
Yeah.
Pine.
Yeah.
Can he be in my Rolodex? I really love Chris Pine. I mean,
We
he's
have-
of course I love Chris Pine. He's Captain Kirk.
Yes.
Did you guys see that SNL episode he did where he like sang in every single sketch?
No,
It was like his
He's a
audition
good
to be in
singer.
a musical. It was like right after La La Land, and I was like, I can tell what
No,
you're
wait,
doing.
wasn't he in Into the Woods? He was in Into the Woods. he was
in
one
it?
of the
Oh,
princes.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he was one of the princes in Into the Woods. I think he was Cinderella's prince.
Yeah, we didn't watch
We,
that.
we'll have to do that.
He does that song.
I want to be.
Anyways.
I want to be staunchly anti Sondheim.
I know.
but
The
we'll
thing
probably have
is,
to do.
But
that at
I'm
some point.
pro.
Chris Pine needs to be in a music. Like,
Yeah.
he
But I'm
maybe
pro
already
Chris
was,
Pine.
but he needs to be in a better one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much support.
He
Chris
needs
Pine.
Chris Pine needs a showstopper song.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I very like.
And
I very
you know
like
who
him.
else needs to be in a musical? We've talked about this. Is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
a great
yeah.
singer.
He does. He really does.
Yeah.
You're totally
Listen,
right.
I'm gonna kill someone if Jake Gyllenhaal isn't in a musical. I will kill someone.
She's not kidding. Okay.
So they let Cosette go for like 1,500, something like that. But then this is something
Francs, yes.
Yeah, but this is something.
1,500 for your sacrifice.
Right.
Yes, so 1,500.
$75.
This is something that doesn't
today.
happen in the stage show, that Javert comes immediately afterwards.
Yeah, and does a sweep.
And so
and-
they're like, oh, we could have gotten more. They're looking for him.
But so I think this scene too helps in terms of character motivation. Like this helps them really want to screw over Jean Valjean,
Right.
as they do later. Like they
because
have
they
a number of attempts.
Yeah.
because they know immediately after he leaves that he is a criminal.
Yeah.
Right, and also they realize like, oh, he's actually super rich right now, and he could have given us a lot more money.
Right.
So
I mean,
like,
all of these added scenes are just to just add more support to things that are already there, pretty much.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they are on the run from Javert.
Oh no! But first, there's
And they
suddenly.
sing Suddenly.
First, there's suddenly.
Yeah, we get Suddenly. It's dumb.
I don't care about this song at all.
No,
We
I
can
like
say
don't
that.
care about it.
It's the Oscar bait song.
Yes.
There's no reason for it to be in here.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
No.
It's not memorable, and I don't care about it.
I could not sing you what the melody is right now.
No.
Oh, I can't, but I will not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the melody. It's also like this musical was already flowed beautifully. Like we don't need to add
No,
anything
I mean,
extra to it.
I
Yeah.
will say, and this is Tom Hooper's reasoning for it, and I definitely agree. This is just Oscar bait, and he
Yeah.
has to come up with something other than Oscar
the
bait.
studio wanted Oscar bait.
Yeah.
He says that basically this sets the tone for Jean Valjean's character throughout the film, which is true. Basically, he goes from
This is his
never
character
having-
development as
As a father.
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
he goes from never having experienced parental love either as a child or as a father to for the first time experiencing that level of love.
Okay,
Fair enough.
But also, like, we don't need this song to understand that.
Yeah.
I agree. It's not necessary, but it's also not like totally out there to where it feels.
If they needed a spot to
Yeah.
put an Oscar bait song,
Yeah,
sure.
This is it.
Yeah.
I just want to note very quickly that this song lost to Skyfall.
Yeah.
Skyfall's good.
Skyfall is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So
I'm ready
we
for
go.
Adele's next
right, come on, Adele.
album. So they're on the run from Javert here
Adele is Cosette.
as Cosette.
I can't get behind Adele as Cosette if she was a soprano, but she's not. I'm just saying, like, I just went into like fantasy casting.
Oh, we'll get there later.
I'm saying a hard no.
Okay, so
Cosette
this is
strong.
when
Cosette's been through some shit.
I love when there's a strong Cosette.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so this is when Fauchelevent comes. They meet him on the road or something, and
Hello.
he's like, "Hello, it's me, Fauchelevent. You saved me from the car," and he lets him stay with him, he
Hey, lets him hide or something.
lets him
yeah.
hide wherever
Yeah.
he is, and then we go immediately into Stars.
Oh no, you guys.
And it's so bad. There's
I mean, hold on though. We did skip over one of my favorite moments.
Oh, yeah?
Which is when they're in the
The chase scene?
convent.
Oh.
No, I really like the nuns.
Oh, the Franciscan nuns with the. My mom
Yes.
calls them.
flying nuns.
No, they look like wonton soup dumplings. She says they look like wonton soup dumplings, and she is not wrong. They do.
I agree with that, but I really love a beautiful group of nuns.
And Kelsey is established from episode 1
I really
that
like
nuns.
singing nuns. I do.
I love
think
them
they're
too.
Beautiful.
I also love singing. People are singing who are former nuns as well.
I
and
mean,
and a girl out there who I fear will never become a nun.
Never become a nun.
or like fake nuns.
Fake
even.
nun.
Any kind of nun. Any permutation of a
fake
nun.
nuns who used to live in Las Vegas.
Yes. Oh, I
Exactly.
love those too. I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people who are pretending to be nuns because they're part of witness protection.
Yes, all
Yeah.
of that.
You put a habit
All of
on
it.
and you sing. I love you.
I love it.
Yeah,
too.
then you're back in the habit.
Okay, stars.
So Stars is bad. I don't even want to. It's just this song could be so pivotal for the character. It's not even that. It's not even that he's a bad singer. I feel like he's distracting himself because he's a bad singer and not even giving a good acting performance.
He's having a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He's having a lot of trouble. I said no. Also,
listen,
no.
I feel like he's kind of
wanna-
distracted throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie.
Because he's focused so much on the singing because he's not a singer.
Blank. He's blank in the face the whole
Yes.
time, and he's such a good actor.
We know that he's an actor. We
Yeah.
know that he can act. The problem is that when you cast someone who's not a singer in a part that requires so much intensive, difficult singing,
Yeah.
they can't focus on the acting because the singing is so hard.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't want to blow y'all's minds
Okay.
or anything.
I'm ready.
But Russell Crowe's career actually started in musical theater.
Oh fuck.
Oh God.
And while your definition of singer may vary, he does consider, like, he's had a long musical career.
He's been in a band.
Yeah,
He has
I thought
a
he was like a
band,
blues
too.
rock
like
band.
3 Angry Grunts or
Yeah.
Giants.
Oh, we've talked about
Blah.
this. Whenever there's an actor,
We're not saying we appreciate what his band does, but his career started in musical theater in Australia. Like, he's been in a lot
we've
of
talked
stuff.
about this with somebody else before, who's
Yeah.
like an actor who.
I'm not saying that makes him good. I agree. Javert is the weakest performance in this film, like, by a long
it's-
shot.
Oh, it
It's
was.
like
I remember who it was.
Weak.
It was Gerard Butler.
Oh.
Kelsey was like, he's in a band, and I was like, is it like blues rock?
No, we were talking.
Yup.
No, that was about. No.
Wasn't it? Oh,
no,
wasn't it?
that was about Jeremy Renner, who just like came up in passing.
Okay. All
That
right.
makes sense, too.
I'm pretty sure Gerard.
Let's
Butler
make a list of white
is
male
not
actors
in.
that have like rootsy blues bands on the side.
Yeah, I don't think, like, just to his credit, I don't think Gerard Butler does that. But also, isn't he like Irish?
Oh, right. Oh, you know what? He very recently watched P.S. I Love You, and he sings
was it
in it.
good?
It's one of JJ's like favorite crime
But
movies.
I know, but is it good?
It's pretty good.
yeah.
It's one of his like favorite crime
Hilary
movies.
Swank,
And-
right?
Yeah. But he sings in it. He sings like Irishy
stuff.
Yeah.
He's a cutie patootie.
Yes.
He's.
But we
I
talked
like
about
his
that.
face. I like his face.
We talked about
which
that.
makes him far too handsome for the Phantom.
We talked about that a lot when we were talking about Phantom because he's not.
Oh my
supposed to
god!
be-
I forgot. You know what? I forgot. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
They messed up.
it was nice to fantasize about you for a minute, Gerard Butler.
Honestly, when we watched Phantom, the whole time his performance was reminding me of Russell Crowe as Javert.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're very similar in terms of voice.
Their abilities as
Yeah.
singers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is just okay. I would like to change the subject slightly and just say that Alex's performance of this song when we did it is one of my most fucking favorite things in the world.
Thank you.
He was so spot fucking on. You were so fucking good. This was so beautiful. This was also like one of the last things I got to conduct before I had to hop on and be Eponine. Oh, it was just a fucking pleasure. Alex is an incredible singer, you guys.
Stop it.
It was so good. And he has the perfect range for it too. He's got such a like beautiful, like round, deep baritone, but like you still have like this wonderful higher range. Oh my God. So I cannot listen to Russell Crowe do this when we have a Javert in this room who like sings him under the table. No question.
Well,
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I think that my favorite part of doing this or of doing the role was the acting part of it, which was so fun to do on stage,
Yeah,
which is what makes it so annoying that Russell Crowe is an Oscar-winning actor who can't even emote on his face during the song.
Yeah, because can't. Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway,
I do wonder what went wrong here, because I don't think anyone would say that Russell Crowe is a bad actor.
No, I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, and having a musical theater background and singing, for part of his profession. I don't know. It just makes you wonder what went wrong. And
I wonder
not
if
only
he even
all of that-
auditioned.
Yes, he did.
He did?
Yes.
Ugh.
Every single person. That I will
auditioned.
say, every single person in this movie auditioned. There were not any awarded parts, and I would have guessed that if any parts were awarded, it would have been Russell Crowe's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's like,
Something happened.
he probably has a really, really good agent.
Yeah.
All right. So after the song, I'm over this song. We time lapse. It's now 9 years later, and they're doing this song. I believe is called "The Beggars," right?
Yes.
Another version of "Look Down."
Yes. And I like this transition a lot.
Yeah.
This transition is very good.
Yep, and I love Gavroche singing to the camera, riding on the back of the cart. I think that's really cool.
He was in the stage production, right? This
Yeah.
kid.
Oh, was he?
He was,
Yeah.
He
He seems like he
Gavroche
was.
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
He's
Did you
great.
mention it's
Yeah.
1832?
It's 9 years after.
Yeah. So it's 1832 in Paris. Like, we're finally in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
Yes, 1832.
Finally.
Deal with these
This
suburbs.
This is great. The orchestra, when the orchestra is by itself, always sounds great.
Yeah.
I love all these arrangements. I love this whole choreographed
it's a mixing
scene.
issue for me.
Yes, the mixing.
This actually won the Academy Award for Best Sound Mixing.
I mean, it's because it was the only sung through musical nominated.
Right. And it's
because they recorded a lot of vocals on set.
it was in the general category, not just musicals.
But
No,
but it was
campaigning. There was campaigning.
There was campaigning, and it was a trailblazer for what it did as
Yes.
far as live singing and doing all of that, putting the music in after.
Sure.
I can see why it won the Oscar. But personally, I feel like the music is always too soft.
Yes.
The vocals are always way too out front and way too clean.
And dry as fuck.
Way too dry.
They're so dry.
Yes.
This sounds like a rehearsal.
And it sounds like what I was saying. It sounds like they're wearing personal microphones. That
Yeah,
are
there's
right
no
next to their
room sound.
mouth.
There's no room sound. There's no environment.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway, sorry.
So-
all of this cinematography, choreography in this scene is very cute and fun, and I love it.
And I think it gives a lot more context to what's going on.
Yes.
In the country.
The class.
Yes, with
system.
we were introduced to Marius and Enjolras. They're handing out flyers for their cause.
And this is why I'm surprised that they didn't get a nomination for Best Cinematography, because so many of the scenes in this movie are all one shot.
Yeah.
They did multiple takes, but this little
think this
scene
is
with
good.
Gavroche riding on the back of the carriage
Yeah.
and
That
him
was very
singing
cute.
live, that was all in one shot.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
What did it lose to?
For cinematography, I don't know.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
So Marius and Enjolras.
But it wasn't even nominated, is the point.
Oh.
Yeah.
It didn't get a nomination at all.
There must have been some kind of big fucking
There wasn't.
there wasn't.
Like
There wasn't-
something it was up against or something.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
Up,
I
it
mean,
wasn't
I've
up against
got-
some kind of blockbuster.
It was
with-
nominated for Best Picture, but not cinematography.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Marius and Enjolras are leaders of this student revolution. Eponine is in love with Marius. She says that I'm just kind of moving along pretty quickly here. We are introduced to Eponine, who is
The daughter
of the Thénardiers. She's all grown up. She was heavily doted upon when she was a child, when it was between her and Cosette.
Yeah.
But now she's kind of forgotten.
And Eponine is played by Samantha Barks.
Samantha Barks.
Yes. Who played
Eponine on
Eponine
stage.
Yes.
She's
She's one of the I think 3
Yeah,
of
three
the
Broadway
principals that are-
actors.
Yeah. Or that actually played the role that they're playing
Right.
Yeah.
in the movie on stage.
Yeah,
And,
including Gavroche.
I know, yes.
And Aaron Tveit, who plays Enjolras, he is also a Broadway actor. I don't know if he played him on
thought he had.
Broadway.
I don't think he did.
But you know who he plays now, or
Who?
pre-pandemic? Christian in Moulin Rouge.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Big Tveit heads.
Yeah,
I wished that they did. I feel like they took some stuff away from Enjolras. I wanted him. I mean, in the stage play, he just is so huge.
he's so powerful.
I just
So
want to get it
powerful.
out of the way that I call him Enjolras.
That's fine.
So, just to
Yeah.
be clear, I'm
It's
not
fine.
correcting you.
And
I'm
we're-
just letting you know
We're
that's how I
saying it
say
incorrectly,
it.
but my current.
Oh,
my,
I don't know that I'm right.
No, it doesn't matter. My partner Dan played his part in our show before we were together, when we were just friends, and now we're together. So now when I watch it, I'm like, look at that cutie
And
baby Dan.
I'll put it this way.
He refused to watch this movie with me. He would not do it.
I'll put it this way. I think that Enjolras could be way more powerful in the movie, but he's still one of my favorite parts
Yeah.
of the movie.
Yeah. Agreed. He is such a good singer.
Such a good singer.
He's one of the actors in this that I'm like, oh, this was no problem for you.
Yeah.
Like singing and doing all this stuff at the same time was nothing for you.
Yeah.
You're just you've got you are in tune. You were holding a straight note and then adding vibrato at the end.
Yeah.
I'm just
He
like,
is
yes.
Obviously a pro.
I think at the end of the movie, the first time I saw it, he was my favorite performance in the whole thing.
He's great. He's
Yeah.
great.
I think same.
Well,
Actually, I think same.
Samantha Barks was, but he was a very close second.
Yeah.
And Samantha Barks mostly was because her song,
Well, we'll get there.
we'll get there.
You
but,
mean my song?
But okay.
So Eponine, who is Samantha Barks, she is talking to Marius up in his apartment, and she's like, she says to him,
She's
"Oh,
like,
you're
hey, little rich
Well,
boy."
she's like, "You're still pretending to be poor,"
Yeah.
because obviously
funny.
he has a rich dad.
Well, because he
Calling him
is.
out
Yeah.
on his privilege.
Yeah,
privilege.
he is pretending.
to
Yeah.
be poor. I
Which-
mean, it's
Which
clear
I don't
that he and his
think
grandfather
is
were
necessarily and I don't think that much isn't
they've had
really
a falling
said.
out.
Well, we don't know that in the stage show. It doesn't really.
No, they added. There's a scene, or just a couple minutes before we get here, where his grandfather is one of the rich people in the streets that the crowds are harassing. And he says he has some sort of exchange with Mary.
Yeah,
he says something like, "You're bringing shame to our family," or something like that.
And so, we know that he comes from money.
He says some rich fucking grandpa shit.
Yeah, some principles,
Yes.
but also, principles when there's not a whole lot at stake are different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I like that way of putting it.
Yes, absolutely.
I love Marius, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But his situation is very different from everybody else.
Yeah, Marius is he's a little white boy.
And he's like a little idealist.
Yeah.
He
doesn't understand consequences.
right.
At least he's
Yeah.
living the life and he doesn't go back home.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
doing it.
Yeah.
Also-
he has
But
submersed himself in
it's
the
clear
Yeah.
that it's not that big of a rift when he almost dies and he's immediately welcomed back home. Immediately.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
That's
not
probably
a big
because his grandfather finds out that Valjean and Cosette are rich.
deal. Yeah, that's absolutely that. I really like Eddie Redmayne.
Oh yeah, me too.
I like him too.
I forgot.
He
Huge
brings the
fan.
right amount of schmoopiness
yes.
to Marius
and
but,
naivete.
but also likability because you
Yes.
can do the the schmoopy Marius
Michael
thing.
Ball.
Michael Ball,
That's
Ball,
his name.
and
He
be
adds,
really really unlikable.
He adds a
just be
little bit
too
of
much.
self-deprecation.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, when he's I can't remember the line, but well, we'll get there. It's when he meets her though in the garden and
I'm doing everything all wrong.
Yeah.
Aw, I know,
Yeah.
it's really cute.
But that part in the hands of the wrong actor can seem performative.
Yeah.
When it's like
Sometimes you mean sometimes Michael Ball?
Exactly. It's like,
was-
I'm doing everything wrong.
I know.
Oh, you know.
I mean, also like every performance that Michael Ball ever gives, I'm like, you're gay though.
Yeah, aren't you?
Are you though?
But so basically, like right before we get, yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but like right before we get there, we get Red and Black.
This
Yes.
song is so important.
So
ABC
good.
Cafe and Red and
Yeah.
Black are so important. There are a lot of
Like
cuts.
this is one of
Yeah.
the top 5 performances for me.
Yeah, this is
Maybe top 3.
And
Yeah.
it's a really long in the show. It's a really long song, and it keeps going back to the Red and Black part, and then it goes back to Marius being like, "But a girl."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they're like, "Shut up."
yeah.
See, look, when you really break down the lyrics like that, it does seem silly.
Yeah.
But they have such a good way of delivering
Yeah.
it that
Who
you
cares
don't
about your lonely
you
soul?
don't
Yeah.
watch it though and think that like, oh, Marius is an idiot. Like you totally relate to
Like,
him.
these are like
Yeah.
basically children.
Yeah.
Like these
I
are
don't,
like
though.
like I think these
How
are
old are they supposed
college
to be?
they're supposed to be
Yeah.
college students. So they're
Right.
supposed to be like late teens, early 20s. So like of course it makes sense to me that Marius is like, I'm in love.
Well, yeah, he saw this girl
But
once
know,
and he's
like,
in
I
love.
don't view
Yeah.
it as this like naivete. I really don't.
yeah.
I think that I mean, I don't know. I think this is one of those moments where in a musical you have to be willing to like, you know, just let
No,
certain
I believe.
things
I
go.
believe.
Yeah.
No, I
So,
believe
like,
that both of them
we have
are.
to believe
I
they've
believe
fallen
that they
in
are
love.
in love.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
But
I
in
do.
the
I do.
same way, but in the same way that like Romeo and Juliet are in love.
Yeah.
Well, that means
Yeah.
you don't believe it.
No, but I believe it.
Yeah, I do. I believe that I believe Romeo and Juliet are in love too.
I mean,
believe
no, I
it,
think
yeah.
Juliet wouldn't have fucking
Right,
killed
but-
herself
but
if she wasn't actually
But
in
hands
love.
Yeah.
up, you think Juliet was dumb AF. Come on. Come on.
No.
They were both kind of dumb.
They
but
were.
I think
they
I'm
were
not
naive.
saying I'm not
they were
saying
naive.
they weren't both dumb, but like
Yeah.
I
exactly,
think,
they were naive. I don't think that Marius is being naive.
I think that he's got hormones going on.
Yeah, I think
and
he-
that's totally understandable. I feel
think
like
he's being naive because he saw her across the road.
No, I know. But you just agreed.
because he saw
But you just agreed to suspend your disbelief.
Yes, no, absolutely.
And say that they are in love.
I think both can be true.
If you're going to accept that they fell in love by looking at each other, which we all have to do,
okay.
then you have to believe that that love is real.
I think that this is very realistic representation of shit that happens when you're in college.
Sure.
I absolutely think that this is very realistic.
Now, I will say, okay, I want to clarify.
Okay.
Because I think that you're raising a good point. So I want to slightly adjust my position and
Okay.
say that while yes, maybe he is a little too idealistic, so is Enjolras.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's willing to
They don't know
go
what they're-
out there and
Yeah.
die.
He doesn't have
what?
any idea how crazy this shit's gonna get. He
And
does
the-
not understand.
And
absolutely.
the students are equally as naive to get themselves involved in what they're doing too.
So I think for
absolutely.
me, just like in those terms, like I don't know, I'm just all in. Like I'm putting
Yeah,
myself in
same.
the mindset of the student. Like
Oh.
I'm not looking at anyone as like to
Yeah.
this or to that. Like I'm in it. I am in their headspace.
I am 100% with you, and that's why I say this seems so realistic for like this age group. Like this is the kind of shit. Like this is the kind of shit. This is the reason why a lot of change comes from young adults,
Right.
Because like they are willing to risk a bunch of shit
Everything.
because they don't understand the like
Yeah.
what everything
me,
is.
a 38-year-old woman with stuff that she likes
Yeah.
is less likely to go
Right.
out there with a gun in the street to fight for my rights.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm more likely to be like, let's talk to the city council.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's why that's why change
Yes.
comes from young people.
exactly, and that's why it's so important in this story
Yeah.
that these characters are in college.
yeah.
Yes.
We got there.
I think
We got there. Hey, we're all on the same page.
Yes.
We're on the same page. Okay, I just want to really quickly say they cut Lamarck is dead. They cut
Oh
some
no!
stuff.
But they added my favorite line that I think about all the time. General Lamarck is dead.
No, it's in there.
It's dead. It's dead. They cut the sung part afterwards.
Well,
And
I
Dolores-
just prefer
Yeah.
General
And
Lamarck is dead.
I know. It's because we have a joke where we saying Lamarck is dead, so dead.
I know. I think that's really funny because, like, it's just those, like, really random movie lines that don't connect to your personal life at all, but for some reason you replay them over and over. Like, for me, it's General Lamarck is dead. Like, I just hear it all. Like, I get in the shower, General Lamarck, all the time.
Hilarious. I love that.
And it is in the stage show, but Gavroche comes in. He's like, "Stupid! Listen to me, stupid!" And then they all quiet down. He's, General Lamarck is dead. Dead.
So yeah, there were a lot of cuts in here that I was sad about.
So then, Cosette and Valjean go out to give money to the poor. They come to the poor neighborhood isn't that what they're doing? They're like,
philanthropists.
Exactly. But Marius sees Cosette and immediately is taken with her. Mm-hmm. But then the Thénardiers recognize Valjean, and just when they're about to do something, Javert shows up, and so the Thénardiers scatter, and Valjean and Cosette are able to run away.
So something I noticed in this scene that I hadn't noticed previous times watching the film, which is a lot, is, you know how later on Gavroche is the one that reveals that Javert is in fact an undercover cop.
Yeah.
He's not a rebel. In this scene, when he shows up and he's looking around and trying to find whoever the perpetrators are, he picks up Gavroche. Or Gavroche. I don't know why I just switched to Gavroche. He picks up Gavroche and, holds him up and, makes solid eye contact with him and then puts him down.
So that explains.
That's how. Yeah. Gavroche knows.
It seems like Tom Hooper really felt like it was important.
He was trying to connect the dots.
Yeah, connect the dots for the viewer.
Yeah.
And
and as someone, and I'm sure as someone who hadn't seen the stage show, those kinds of things are helpful.
Yeah.
And as people who have been watching this since we were 3 years old.
Yeah, I'm like, it's going to be Gavroche now.
Listening to it since we were 3 years old, what do you think, we're stupid that we didn't know that?
Right. No, I give the director a lot of credit in this instance. I don't know that I would have caught it necessarily. Wait, why was Jean Valjean so distracted? Why did he not step in and help Fantine in that scene? Yeah. But I give him a lot of credit for going into it and thinking, what questions do I want answered? What does my audience need?
Yeah.
The best way to do anything is to think about your audience first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's clear that he was thinking about a general audience, not necessarily a Broadway audience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in this
and that's
instance.
fine.
And in those
as I stare into the distance.
No, in those instances,
I know, but when you consider the budget that was allotted, it was never going to be a movie just for the Broadway crowd.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think, and in those instances, I agree with his choices. There are just other things that I disagree with.
I just think that it is, in general, when I watch this movie, I get the feeling that there is not a general understanding of music present in the direction. Mm-hmm. And that troubles me.
I agree there.
Yes. I mean, yeah. So, okay.
That he's not, Tom Hooper isn't putting he's not putting the focus on the music. And you said this before. When I feel like this musical is about this music.
It's all music.
But it's about the emotional impact of this music.
Yes.
But he's trading it out. It seems like instead of building upon that, he's trading that out for the intimacy of close-ups and that kind of thing.
I think what we're acknowledging is that Tom Hooper is a movie director.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's keep going.
In my life.
Yes. Let's see. Yes.
I love this song. I like the way that this is set up. Mm-hmm. I like that because it never struck me in the stage play as an argument so much, and here it does, and I like that.
Oh, between
Cosette and Valjean.
Yes.
Like it seems and it feels like an argument between a father and daughter,
even,
and I like that. In the stage play, it seemed more like he was just like, no, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay.
And the same thing happens in right before One Day More.
Yeah.
Where it seems like they're having a fight.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. But she wants answers that he's not giving her.
Yeah, yeah.
And Marius continues to be oblivious about the fact that Eponine is obviously in love with him.
I know. It's so college. Again, it's
Poor
so
Eponine.
college, you guys.
And especially her like idea that like she just wants to be close to him.
Yeah.
So even if that means helping him find this other girl.
I know, it's
Yeah.
just so endearing and so sweet.
Yeah.
Like and okay, like not
I love Eponine.
not to dwell on one, like it is so college, but also this is during a time where like this is their life. You know, there is no real like college phase. There's no like adolescence phase. You go from like being a child to being an adult when you're like 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
for her,
this is
for her it does. Maybe not necessarily for Marius.
but clearly her family has fallen on hard times.
Yes.
Like no longer is she the doted upon,
Right.
you know, young girl that we saw
Right,
in the first part of the movie.
Yeah, it never really explains it, but it doesn't seem like
You don't need to.
But it doesn't explain. It doesn't seem like they own the inn anymore. It seems like they are like street grifters now, which would explain why she's in the position that she's in, and you know what they're doing, which is just like street burglary. Basically.
Yeah, and like constantly being pulled in a direction that she doesn't want to go in.
Yeah.
But okay, so are we? I think
like- We're at Heart Full of Love.
Heart Full of Love.
I just wanted to say that in my notes I wrote, "Lol, the butterfly is overkill."
Oh, okay, but so I didn't think this would come up, but the butterflies are actually mentioned in the commentary. They are real butterflies.
It looks like a real butterfly. I was
Really?
just like, why?
Yeah, that was
Do we
not
need
CGI'd in.
I was like, how many ways can we distract from the music?
Doesn't that make it a little better though, knowing that they were real? Like they weren't like digitally adding like, oh, a butterfly here, a butterfly there.
Sure.
But it just proves that
A little bit better.
it's a little bit
It
better.
was realistic.
It was.
But it also proves that Tom Hooper was planning on butterflies.
Yes.
It wasn't something that was added in.
And-
It was.
I know. And I do have to say, like, very specifically here, Amanda Seyfried, she is not a strong singer. And Eddie Redmayne is a very strong singer. And Samantha Barks is a very strong singer. And this is a trio piece.
The thing is, I think that she's a good singer. I think that she is really well suited in Mamma Mia.
Yeah. I forgot about Mamma Mia.
Right?
I did. I forgot about it. I forgot all
Their
about it.
second musical.
Yeah.
But
I don't think she's this kind of soprano.
no.
I
But
love her
But
in
I
this
also don't
role.
think that of the casting that happens in this movie, she gets a pass for me because she's fine.
I love her. I think that her voice sounds like I think she sounds like Snow White.
Oh,
She
she
does have
does. She has
this-
a very fast vibrato.
and like a very,
Yeah.
she has a
I mean,
very,
she
like,
sounds
kind
like a
of-
flittering bird.
Yeah.
And I think I think she sounds like the way her character should sound. Like her character is so. She's the only character in the whole movie that just has a good life. You know? Like,
true.
nothing bad happens to Cosette
because he
ever.
keeps
yeah, until except for when she was a kid.
technically,
Yeah.
yeah, but like, you know, she's still
She gets
small
rescued.
enough.
She gets rescued. Yeah.
Right.
I see what you're saying. I don't think that these voices blend. As far as like timbre and
well, because Samantha Barks has such a belty voice.
she has a pop voice. She has a belty pop voice.
Eddie Redmayne has such a
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog voice, and she has this fluttery, yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. I didn't mind it that much. The only time that I thought that there were times when she didn't sustain notes that it felt like it suffered.
I think that I would have preferred a stronger singer in this part, because I also prefer, as far as casting goes with Cosette, I prefer a strong singer in the character, you know, because like I think that Cosette tends to be cast as like sweet and demure and sort of flat, and I like seeing someone like Judy Kuhn.
When Judy Kuhn gets forceful and she goes into her chest voice, it's incredible.
Yes, yes. For those of you who don't know, she was the singing voice of Pocahontas.
She was the singing voice of Pocahontas. She originated Cosette.
She was
Broadway. She originated a Broadway role of Cosette.
Yeah.
Frances Ruffelle moved to Broadway from West End.
Yeah.
And originated on Broadway. They were up against each other for featured actors for the Tonys.
Crazy.
And Frances Ruffelle won against Judy Kuhn.
I mean, she was really good.
I know, she was so good.
She was really, really good. I mean, that's still like, I mean, it's like her and Lea Salonga.
Right.
And like, you know, I have to lean toward Lea Salonga because, you know, Filipinos. So anyway.
Stick together.
Filipinos stick together, you guys.
Okay, so then the song ends. Valjean calls Cosette back into the house. Thénardier is there with his gang in this song, Attack on Rue Plumet, and they are going to break into Valjean's house.
I loved singing this one.
Oh,
this is so fun. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna war them here.
I know this house. I tell you. Yeah.
There's nothing here for you. She doesn't get to scream it either. She has to like whisper it. Just the old man and the girl.
Which is funny. When she's like, "Be quiet," but she's.
I know.
Okay, so they are the Eponine screams basically to warn Valjean and Cosette.
Yes.
And
because Eponine is a good person.
Yes. Well, and she's
protecting Marius.
She's protecting
Marius.
And she knows if Cosette gets hurt in any way that will affect Marius. Anyway. So Eponine screams, warns them, everybody runs off. Thénardier is basically like,
he's like, fuck you,
daughter. And so then she's left in the rain on the street.
Okay, so this is supposed to be in the stage play. On My Own is the first song of Act 2.
Right.
And One Day More is the last song of Act 1. Mm-hmm. These have been switched in the movie. I don't have that big of a problem with it.
It's fine.
It doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah.
I do have problems with One Day More in general, but
sure.
Yeah, but On My Own,
Samantha Barks does a great job.
She's great. She's really great.
Yeah. This song was like the most important song when I saw it the first time. Mm-hmm. Continues to be, I would say. I think it's the most relatable song for most people.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it was the biggest hit that came out of the show.
I mean, this was the song for me for the whole time I was growing up.
Yeah.
Same with my
and
sister.
I think that it shows that it's been her role on stage before.
She knows how to sing it.
Yeah. I think that it's... Yeah, her performance is just so strong. Like,
how does she sing these notes with that corset?
That corset is terrifying.
Yes.
I don't think she's wearing a corset,
really?
just a belt.
But her waist is so
small.
tiny.
I am worried.
I know.
She's
really thin waist.
Yeah.
But listen.
Like, how do you
we've noted.
We've already watched White Christmas, so we know what small waists look like.
Yeah, but no, her waist is super thin. It's hard not to notice it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, she doesn't seem to have any struggle.
No.
It is very obvious that she knows the shit out of this song, and that she is very comfortable in this part. I mean, I think it was very smart to. I mean, it would have been smart to do more of that, but smart to cast people who knew these parts already, who play these parts already.
To cast a Broadway Eponine in this role was
a very
really good idea.
Very smart. This is I mean, I will say from personal experience, this is a difficult song to sing. It is. The range is really wide. The dynamic range, the dynamic range is so wide. Like you start so tiny, and by the end you're so huge, and then you have to come back again really tiny. Yeah. It is so challenging.
And
to
if I
sing
can,
this
if I
song.
can return the favor, Larissa,
no.
one of my favorite things was because I didn't tell you guys that I also played all of the piano. Well,
most of the piano.
the piano when I wasn't
when
on
he
stage.
wasn't on stage. Yeah.
But playing while you sang was a delight. Also, just like leading the orchestra and whatever.
Oh my God. It's also like so much fun to sing because I've been singing that song since I was a child because like that song was like that's my song. Also because Lea Salonga was Eponine on Broadway, and in the 10th anniversary she was the first woman of color to play Eponine.
Right.
And she's Filipina. I'm Filipina. It was a big fucking deal. So I was like, I want to be Lea Salonga when I grow up. So this song was a big deal for me.
And you are.
Oh,
and now you are.
And I am a little bit.
Well, I'll say this: there's a reason why the cover shot for this movie on Netflix is Samantha Barks singing this song.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
but also minor pet peeve. I hate the pictures that they choose.
On Netflix.
Yeah,
I
it's
know. I
really
feel you.
confusing. They
Yeah.
always
How they
pick like
never-
the most minor character, and you're like, how is this representative?
Yeah.
No offense to Samantha Barks, like I love her, but
Yeah.
it's odd. It's an odd
It
choice.
is weird that they
it is.
don't
Yeah.
that they don't normally just use the movie poster.
Yeah, why don't they just...
I don't know.
It drives me nuts. It's like they buy everything except for the rights to use the movie poster
But also-
specifically.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But
Nothing
also-
about it makes sense.
They should
I
just steal
think
them
it-
like we do.
I've heard that I don't know. It's something to do with the algorithm. I don't know if it changes per person.
It does change.
But if it changes based on who the viewer is, but
Right.
I don't know.
No, I think it does because it doesn't matter. But it's an experiment I'm running. I've noticed it.
Yeah.
Well, I have no notes for Samantha Barks.
No.
I am behind her. I think she's great.
Yeah.
I just have a couple notes about the shooting of it that I think were really interesting.
Like
So
In the Rain.
yeah, well, this was another instance where like getting the sound right was very difficult because
yeah.
it's raining.
Yeah.
So, number one, they used like this ultra fine mist, which I think is very noticeable. And it's something that I noticed the first time I even watched the movie because, like,
The way it makes her hair look.
yeah, the
Yeah.
water droplets on her hair. You're like,
You're right.
That's
You're right.
not
I noticed.
how
I noticed
rain
that also in
lands.
Little Fall of Rain.
And it's because they
Yeah.
were able to, it does happen in that one too. And it's because they were able to like get the overall look of rain, but they needed it to be as quiet as
Quiet.
possible.
Yeah.
And then also
Interesting.
the cobblestones are made of rubber.
Smart. Very smart. Very
And
smart.
then the camera crew, like originally they were wearing like, like windbreaker ponchos, whatever. And they
those
had to
are loud.
switch to like cloth, which I'm not even sure how that helps, but it's some sort of like cloth like material.
So they just had to be wet.
Yeah, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, they make very cloth-like shower curtain liners now. Maybe it was
that's
something
true.
like that.
Yeah, or put the plastic underneath and
Yeah.
then the cloth on
Yeah.
top to dampen the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
So now
at
we go to
one-
One Day More.
I mean,
One of my favorites.
you guys
It's
we're,
such a good
We're
song.
only halfway through. With
The rest of it goes really fast.
it does go really
though.
fast. I have a lot of problems with this.
Okay. What you got?
So I think part of it is that I am, of course, like really attached to the stage production of this musical. But I feel like all of these cuts, like back and forth, cut, back and forth, are really like they're robbing me of this feeling of everyone being united, which is what the song is supposed to do. So how the song serves as the end of Act 1 of this play is that everyone is in anticipation of something that's about to happen to them.
Right.
And they're all in this place of limbo and they're singing about it together. So they're all in this place. And the way that this is cut is just like, so it feels so spastic to me. It feels so like,
Which is funny. It's funny because
know?
I don't know what the alternative would be.
like, I don't know. I don't know what it would be.
because
I take
because
the
you
complete
can't-
opposite view.
because you can't. obviously
Like
on
you can't
stage,
have them all doing the thing where they're walking, where
Right,
they're
and
walking
you can't-
forward and
all
walking
at
back.
and you
different
can't,
points
you
in their
can't
lives.
you can't put them
Like specifically,
on
you
screen
can't
together.
have
Yeah.
Cosette next to Marius.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you can't.
because they've just been separated.
But it is jarring. It is very
See, for me, this
jarring
is one
for
of those
me.
instances where I think this movie got it right, where like they really took the opportunity to take something on stage and expand upon it in the best way on film. Because on stage, I think that would be one of those moments that you have to just choose to understand that they're not actually physically next to each
And
other.
we have that understanding already by just having watched one act of a musical. Like we're already in that place.
I don't think everybody in the audience does, though.
Really?
Because not everybody in the audience has seen the musical.
No, I mean
I
when
mean-
we're watching the stage play.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've
Right,
just
right. Oh, I
sat through
gotcha.
the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
act of the stage play,
Right.
and you're at One Day More, you're like, all these people are not in the same room together. We
Right.
understand
you
this.
understand that they're
That
separate.
we understand that this huge, enormous song is actually a whole bunch of internal monologues that are spun together
Right.
into a song, which is so beautiful. Isn't that
Yeah.
just beautiful? Like, how beautiful
I
is that?
love
That
it.
like all
Yeah.
of these things are just people thinking in their heads, and
Yeah.
it's a big song. It's so wonderful. I mean, the other thing about it that doesn't do it for me is again the mix, and it is because this is one of the most powerful moments of this play musically.
I love the song though.
It's so
obviously one of
Yeah,
the best in the show.
It's one of my favorites in the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Ties all these little motifs together into one thing. It's so beautiful. All these puzzle pieces.
and they're singing, and each one is singing their little theme.
their thing.
And it's fitting it together in this puzzle.
It's very similar to that song in West Side Story.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah, and that's another act
Example.
one closer, isn't it?
Yep, it is. It is.
Yes.
Yep.
Although I don't think
Tonight. Sorry, that was the wrong tonight.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's
You were
not
like,
like
wait,
Larissa. Those are the wrong keys.
No. That's not
Smashing Pumpkin.
right. I know that's a smashing, but that was my joke. That was the joke.
Like, I'm surprised it took me so long to figure out like what it was. Like,
no,
okay.
no.
I was just, anyways, okay. I don't know that it would be Act 1 of this movie, but yes, it is Act 1 of the musical.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like for the movie, Act 1 ended at Fantine's arrest, more or
Totally.
less.
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean, even in the stage show, Act 1 is much longer.
Much longer than Act 2
is.
Yeah. So we're not doing that badly right
But
now.
it does end with, do you hear the people sing, right?
Yes.
Because we
well,
get to
no,
general...
No.
in the musical, do you
It's
hear
earlier.
do you hear the people sing happens right after Red and Black?
Yeah, it's much earlier.
Right, but where we are in the movie, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at Do You Hear the People Sing Now?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're at Do You Hear the People Sing, which they're
'Cause we
singing
see-
at Lamarck's funeral.
Which we
Yeah,
don't
which
see
I
in the
like.
stage.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. I said I think the scene works.
Yes.
I know it's late and I know it's supposed to so in my head I'm like I don't understand what's happening. But I like it here.
Yes.
This is effective. I like it.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those times when it's like, this is explaining something that I didn't really understand before this.
It
you know
puts
what?
more emphasis on who Lamarck was because, other than that one line about General Lamarck is dead,
You don't know why or what's
you have
going
no
on.
idea,
Yeah.
how much he actually matters.
You're just along
Yeah.
for the ride.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they mention him a couple of times in the sung dialogue, but it is hard to follow.
It's hard to catch.
Yeah, it's hard to
when
catch
they bring
it.
him up.
So I do really like this. And then we're right into the first attack, kind of.
Yeah, and Javert is already in disguise.
Well,
Yeah.
and I want to add that he almost nixed that scene and made it an intermission. He was and that's another thing we've talked about. You don't really see a lot of intermissions in movies anymore.
Yeah.
I miss the
And he
Yeah,
was
like
that close to
movies.
doing it
Instead of what?
instead of having Lamarck's funeral.
Oh.
But once he was able to get it down to 2.5 hours, he said, well, intermission's a little unnecessary at that point.
I would have liked it. I would have liked it.
But he also-
Even
I'm
at
also
2.5
attached.
hours.
I'm attached to the.
He
Broadway.
wanted to
Yeah.
have that continuity since the whole thing
Right.
is a sung through.
Right.
He wanted to continue with it. So,
Right.
you know, I don't know. I thought that was interesting that he even considered the intermission. 'Cause
Yeah.
we really
Okay.
don't see it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I like an intermission.
I would also enjoy next movie that's made, please have an intermission.
Well,
I would
also,
like to have a chance to go to the
I
bathroom.
want to go pee. I want to go refill my.
Give us a good 10 minutes.
I want to go refill my pib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since we are now used to watching movies at home where we can
Right.
do that whenever we want to.
Right.
All the
Exactly.
directors listening.
Yes.
Do an intermission.
We know you're all listening.
and we all have to pee now because all movie theaters have bars.
Yes.
Which is a bad idea.
They're not open right now.
Oh, they aren't? Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
So Javert is in disguise. Eponine is in disguise. They basically cause this commotion at the funeral and then run
Run to the barricade.
Build the barricade. And Javert volunteers to find out what their plans are.
That's so nice.
Isn't
of
that
him.
so nice
That's
of him?
Sweet.
And pretty quickly he comes back and says that he has found out the plans, but Gavroche,
Little Gavroche.
he
little
says,
stinker.
"Liar!"
Lawyer.
So they tie him up. They put him aside. We have some attacks.
Yeah. There's a whole part that is supposed to be sung that is here is where it's underscore instead.
Yeah. So Eponine is already dead. I mean, she takes the bullet very quickly.
Yeah.
So she's here. Somebody has
But wait, she has not been shot yet.
right here. They tie up.
Okay.
They tie
we
up
skipped
Javert.
over. Okay, I gotcha.
I was just moving.
We're just trying to get through it.
I'm just moving through some stuff at the barricade.
Okay, understood.
So, yeah, there's a soldier pointing a gun at Marius, and basically Eponine just
Jumps right in front of it.
it doesn't even jump in front. She takes the gun and points it at her own fucking chest.
Couldn't she have pointed it out?
Right? Anyway, so she takes a bullet.
That's neither here nor there. She's gonna die.
She takes a bullet point blank from like a musket and
into her stomach.
and she's still able to
Sing a song.
yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so she gives Marius the letter from Cosette, and he realizes that she's mortally wounded.
This whole scene is very good. I mean, and as we know, I was Eponine in our show, and this
She does a great job. He does a
the
great job.
song
The
is
song
so
is so
good.
beautiful.
this song is so good.
Kelsey, what did you think? Do you like this song?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it.
It always makes me cry.
It always makes me cry. We do this at karaoke. Me and
yeah.
Alex do
We
this
have
song at
done this at
karaoke.
It's not like it's one of my, I don't know, it's not a notable song in the movie for me. I think it's very good.
Yeah.
And of course I have an emotional reaction to it, but it's not
your
it's not on
favorite.
my list.
Yeah.
It's not
And
in
I
my top
think
5.
are there parts cut from this in the movie? I feel like there.
I didn't
Maybe.
think there were.
Okay.
I
okay.
think they did the whole song.
Good.
Yes.
Do they give him his verse too?
Yeah.
You would live 100 years. Okay, cool.
I just
Oh,
like
yes. No? I think they cut that. Maybe they cut that.
They might have.
They might have cut
anyway,
that.
I don't know.
They
I just-
still both
I
do a
think they
great
cut that,
job.
yeah.
the song, like, it really makes me just like, I know that everything ends poorly for the, vast majority of characters in this film. It ends poorly for everyone except for Marius and
Cosette.
And I mean, arguably Jean Valjean, because, like, he has a pretty good death in terms of dying.
Yeah, he gets.
But
I mean, the Thenardiers are fine.
he
They're
gets
gonna
what he
be
wanted,
fine.
and he gets
getting
what he.
there is a trek, and it just, like, it really, I don't know, I just find Eponine to be, like, the most relatable character in the entire musical.
But she's also the most tragic. One of the most
and
tragic
it makes
characters.
me so bummed out that that's the role that she was relegated to. Like, I just feel like there could be so much more of an interesting story for
We can
Eponine.
thank
but that's the
Victor
thing is that
Hugo for that.
Right, and she was everybody's favorite
She was
character.
literally everyone's favorite. She was
know.
literally everyone's
So
favorite.
it pains me a little bit that, like, that's her ending. Is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's sad. It is really
is
sad.
dying for Marius.
yeah, it's just like, oh, he wasn't worth it for you.
I love Marius, but girl, he was not worth it.
Speaking of intermissions, we're going to take a short break. We ran out of time. And we're back. Here we are, back to the Hills Are Alive, a movie musical podcast.
To be clear, we're all laughing because Alex just did that back to back.
I did.
Anyways.
We still have our guest here, Larissa Maestro. As always, I'm Alex.
And I'm Kelsey.
Okay, so where we left off, it was right after Eponine died, but I think there was something that you meant to say last time about the barricade, Kelsey?
Yes. So building of the barricade, I think this was really, really interesting. The way that they filmed it, because you may have noticed, it's all one shot, and it's all using handheld cameras. It's like very close up, and it's multiple shots too. So you'd have to wonder, well, where are the cameramen?
Right.
They actually had the cameramen dressed as extras.
Nice.
Running around,
cool.
sneaking around with the cameras.
I like little tricks like that.
I do too. And on top of that, maybe even neater is that the direction in the script just said, build a barricade. So that's what the actors did.
So they were just kind of...
It was just like, do it. Go for it.
Yeah.
They built it all themselves on the spot. And then they had another barricade that was prepped off set that they were going to use for the rest of the movie.
Right.
But they wound up liking the one that the actors made so much that they just hammered some nails into that and kept it.
Cool.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yes.
When
they could have thought farther ahead and dressed up some prop masters as extras.
That would
They could make sure they
Right.
could maintain the integrity of
Right.
the structure itself, you know?
if they
would've
knew
been
that was
smart.
happening. Yeah.
Especially considering that at one point Gavroche is going through tunnels in the barricade that
Right.
apparently they all built themselves.
And I'm like, oh my God, child.
When so fun fact about me, I also did Les Mis in high school.
Yep.
I was Valjean, but that's a different story. But when we built the barricade, we just had this like basement under the theater, or like our theater was at the elementary school, and there was this whole like labyrinth-like basement underneath.
You mean like in Phantom of the Opera?
Exactly.
Ooh.
There weren't.
You didn't have
It
catacombs?
it
Was
wasn't
there
a
a
spiral
pedophile
staircase.
living down there?
There wasn't a horse that took you to an underground
No.
lake?
Yeah, there was no underground lake with a boat, but it was just like where all like the trash from the school went and like old furniture and shit. So we just went down to the basement and pulled up like all this old furniture that ended up working as the barricade, and we just kind of put it up where it looked nice and did what Kelsey said, just like hammered things in place
Yeah.
once it was ready to go.
Cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
Thank goodness that we didn't decide to build a barricade when we
I
did
know.
it. Ooh.
Oh no, and taking it apart.
Oh,
my
God.
God.
No, don't want to think it. Don't
Although-
want to
Beast.
Strike day in high school plays is
I know,
so
it's very
sad.
sweet. I know. It's nice, though. The camaraderie.
Yeah, you come back and you have to take everything
What is,
down.
yeah, for those of us at home
Yeah.
and me,
Yeah.
what is Strike Day?
It's basically you come the day after the show closes to like take apart the sets and stuff.
Oh, and everybody cries.
Yeah.
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 It's sweet. Okay, so the next thing after A Little Fall of Rain is Drink With Me.
Yes. So Marius sends Gavroche with a message to Cosette, but he gives it to Valjean instead. So Valjean now knows about Marius.
He knows everything.
Yes. So Valjean is like, okay, I've got to go see what this kid is all about. So he ends up getting in his costume and going to the barricade. He asks them if he can take Javert, and this is when he lets him go.
This is my favorite. I love this part so much. This moment in the story is so beautiful. The "you are wrong and always have been wrong," that whole part, and this is also the catalyst for Javert being like, my entire
his worldview
structure is now crumbling, and I don't know how to handle it. So, but it's such a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And beautiful musically as well. Using that melody again. Ugh.
You are free, and there are no conditions.
And there are no bargains or petitions. There's nothing that I blame you for.
You've done this is what we were talking about before, is that he's just did his job. Like, Javert at his heart is just doing what he thinks is right.
He's just trying to be a good cop.
Right. He's like...
Yeah.
He's just part
There
of
are
it.
no good cops.
I'm not saying there are.
So Javert basically says, like, okay, but I'm going to still find you. And so this is when Drink With Me happens.
and it's very short. It's just a little tiny Drink With Me.
Yeah.
Just a little baby one.
But they're grappling with their imminent deaths.
Yeah.
And this is like Marius's standout, like his big song.
His
big song is Empty Chairs, which is later.
Oh, that's
After
right.
they-
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
He does
Drink
have
With
a-
Me is with Angel Ross. And
Yeah.
All the boys are like, let's get drunk because we're all going to die.
Right.
Okay, that's why I was like,
But
what are we
Marius-
talking about? When are they going to
where-
mention Marius?
Where
He
even
does
are
have
we?
he does have a solo in this song.
Yeah, but no, it's Empty Chairs. Yeah.
Do I care if I should die? Now she goes across the sea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and now
Immediately Bring Him Home happens.
Oh God. Okay. This is the
So
moment for me.
Love this song is so beautiful.
song is so good.
I do wish that I wish that Hugh Jackman had a little bit more nuance to his voice for this, just to have like a little bit more.
It's very loud the whole time.
Yes, and it should be.
It's like you're screaming.
Well, because it should be quiet, and when it reaches the crescendo and he does reach full
Yes.
voice, it's supposed to have that sort of
Yes.
impact. But it
And why this happened, I don't know. Because, I mean, Hugh Jackman is, in fact, a very talented stage performer.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if anybody on set, beyond Samantha Barks and all of the West End extras, knew what they were doing, I mean, it was definitely Hugh Jackman.
right.
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
Well, so for me, this is the song and scene where a lot of the holes in this production come to the surface. So for me, I look at this and I see Hugh Jackman is miscast in this part. The song is very high for him in his range. Like it's not quite. His voice isn't built for the range that the song was written.
Well,
in.
yeah,
he's not a true tenor.
He can hit the notes, but he can't do it with nuance.
Right, which is what I hear in there.
Yeah.
In addition to that,
I just
there's-
did when I was in
Because
high
it's
school.
harder to sing quietly.
it is
than
much
it is
harder.
to sing loud.
Much harder to sing quietly.
Yeah.
So much harder.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, for me, this is where the whole concept of intimacy in a stage production and concept of intimacy in a film are two completely different things,
Well,
and they're
because-
not really meshing here. Like you can sing a huge, enormous, loud song on stage, and it can be very intimate. But when you're doing it in a film and everything around in the scene is very realistic, and there are literally people sleeping nearby, you cannot be scream singing a huge number. It just doesn't.
Well,
it doesn't
that's the
compute in my
thing.
head.
The thing is that it's this Bring Him Home is a prayer.
Yeah.
And he generally in the show, when in any production that you see of it, he just sits and sings.
Yeah.
Or kneels and sings.
And there's nothing else
Okay.
happening. He's not moving. He's not walking around.
But
He's not
what's
walking
really
around an empty
funny?
house.
You know what's really funny about this? Like they talk about that, like this specific moment where he's walking around the house.
Yeah.
And how they. So I guess like he really intended on belting out this song. I'm just now remembering because he talks about in an interview how they loved that by filming it, they had that freedom to take him around the home and not have him just standing there next to a sleeping person.
Right.
So they view this as like, oh, this is a win-win. Now I get to sing really loud and it doesn't look like I'm trying to wake everybody
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But to me, it came off as to me, it came
still
off
like,
of as him just
You're
like
singing so loud they can still hear you.
yeah.
You are not that far away.
The walls aren't super thick
Yeah. No.
and this tenement
This house is
building-
about to fall down.
But also, it's like, where is he going?
Like,
why
what
is
is he
Why is he
doing?
wandering around?
I know
But-
it's distracting. It
Yeah.
distracts from the song. This song is one of the most powerful emotional moments in the story. So like almost everything about it to me is like
But that's why I Dreamed a Dream goes over so well, is because it lets it have that intimate moment.
Yes.
Where this is like, I'm distracted. Where is he going?
Yes. What is he doing? Because in I Dreamed a Dream, in effect, the close up on her face is like akin to a spotlight on an actor on a stage, where all you're seeing is that person and everything else is gone. And so your focus is really tuned in on this one performer. And here, I would have been I don't really care for the close-ups in general, but here it would have worked for me.
Yeah.
You know? And instead it's like, how you're screaming and running through a house, like walking through a house. I'm not getting it. I'm not focusing on the lyric. I'm not
I mean, maybe they did try and do it that way and found these difficulties with Hugh's voice and decided this is a good workaround.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I feel like I would have forgiven the vocal parts of it more if I could have focused more on
the song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Hugh Jackman's he worked really hard in this movie. You know, I'm not saying he didn't work hard. I'm just saying he's not my Valjean.
All right, so then we get the news, and Enjolras finds out that they are the only barricade left in the city. So I guess the idea was that there were supposed to be strongholds throughout the city that have all fallen or they've all given up or whatever. So they're the only ones left. So now they're really grappling with the fact that they have to make a decision, basically, of whether they have to decide to die or not.
Yeah, and it turns out all of the townspeople that at first were like very supportive have started retreating into their homes, and it's really just down to them alone.
I mean, revolution is not a vacation, you guys.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And this is when Gavroche goes out to
Oh my God.
try to get things out of the pockets of the fallen, and so he goes out there and he's singing
Little People.
Little People.
Not the Randy Newman song.
No.
Oh, that's Short People.
That's Short People. Just imagining Gavroche singing Short People now. And
he's a cute kid.
He's
so
a
cute.
really fucking cute kid. That's why this whole situation is very disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
They make it so much more disturbing.
Yeah.
So this is. Can we just talk about Gavroche's death?
Yeah.
In the stage play, the barricade turns around on the stage and you see him and you're like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
But
isn't it like you just hear the shot and you know that he died, but you don't necessarily see him get killed, right?
Oh, yeah. But he is laying on the barricade, though.
When it turns around, you see that he's there dead.
Yeah, you see that he's there dead,
But in the stage show, it hasn't turned around yet.
Right,
and he
right.
just goes over it. They're like, stop, no. And you just hear the shot and him stop singing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But here you fucking see the whole shit.
It's so sad.
They literally just shoot a child.
I know.
They just shoot a child. I know it's supposed to be like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, they just shot a kid.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a callous viewer these days. But like yes, was it sad? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But like it didn't stand out as like a particularly sad moment in a movie that's just sadness.
I mean the whole movie is sad. You're right.
It's just
Let's
sad.
look at the name of the film.
What is this movie called again? What is this story called?
You know what though? Like props to that little kid, because I don't know if you guys noticed how like once he's dead, his eyes like
are
really
open.
go dead, and his eyes are open, and that's all him.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine having that kind of patience as a probably 8, 9, 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be able to sit still.
Super talented.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Little
just the
actor.
fact that these soldiers shoot a child who's not a threat in any way.
No.
Wasn't it a mistake?
No, in
No.
the movie they shoot him more than one time. They aim for him and then they shoot him more than one time.
Is this before? Is
I
this
had
before or
forgotten that.
after? Is this before or after the one soldier gives the warning?
This is before. Well, it's before, because after the bad guys, the army has seen that they killed a little kid. That's when that one guy sings out, and it's actually Hadley Fraser, by the way, who we've talked about before. He was in a Phantom performance. Anyways, he says, "Look, this is this is getting to be too much. Like,
Right,
we're going to give you an opportunity now to just walk away.
Right.
So no one else more has to die.
Mm-hmm. And they don't.
Which is also gaslighting, though.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
It's like, we know we just killed a kid. We're going to give you a chance to stop more killing from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we
but that was
kill
your
if
fault.
it
we
was your
kill you,
fault.
it's your fault.
Yeah.
So then that's when everyone decides that they are. Once they get that warning, they decide that they are going to die for the cause.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much immediately after that is when Marius gets shot, and everything starts going to shit.
Yeah. This is also
Literally,
Yeah.
they
Yes.
go to shit.
And this is another moment too where there are some awkward transitions for me musically. Like the Until the Earth is Free. There is actually in the stage musical, in the score, there is a musical transition. After that, it's the whole it's really powerful and big. But here it's Until the Earth is Free, and then it's silence.
Yeah.
And I know I like that's probably on purpose or something, but I was like, why?
And maybe it's because, in the stage musical that sort of that music is kind of to signify.
yeah.
It's to signify action,
Right.
And here they can actually show the
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
Who knows?
But they could also have put that music underneath the action. I have different opinions about how that should have gone.
Yeah.
But I will say that the death of Enjolras is very good.
Yes.
The way that they did it
That is a
very
standout
good. Yes.
sad scene in a movie of sad scenes
I was
for
like,
me.
how are they going to do
I
this?
know,
Yeah.
same. I was like, I just don't see how it's possible for you, because that moment in the show
Yeah.
on stage when they have the rotating barricade and it turns around and the music swells and it's the da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. It's yeah.
And here in the movie, I think that
So good.
they did make a good choice, because in place where the barricade would be turning around in the stage show is where Javert sees. Isn't that where Javert sees all the dead lined
Yes.
up, and he sees Gavroche?
Yes.
And then he takes his little military pen and
Yeah, and
Puts
this
it
is
on
part
Gavroche.
of more of his worldview crumbling.
Yeah.
yeah.
But before that, Valjean escapes with Marius's lifeless body into the sewers.
And while
Yeah.
that's happening, Marius is upstairs of the cafe.
Enjolras.
Or sorry, Enjolras is upstairs of the cafe. And also, was it like Gavroche's, I don't know, pseudo brother, I suppose, like the older guy, I can't remember his name, but he was like particularly affected by Gavroche's death.
Yeah,
And
I don't remember his name.
there's another,
remember
but the
his
other
name.
guy runs up there too.
Yeah.
And then the guards find them.
Yeah,
And
they're basically escaping through the house, and they're chasing him through the house and end up in the second floor room, which was kind of their headquarters room.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's when Enjolras gets basically shot out the window, and he's held by his foot and is hanging backwards with the flag. It's
Yeah,
very,
like that, I just got chills. Like
Yeah.
that for me is the most, I would say, the most impactful imagery in the whole thing.
Right.
and
right.
kudos to them for casting, because Enjolras is
Very good.
very
We
good,
love Aaron Tveit.
and
Yes.
so likable,
And what a singer.
an incredible
what
singer.
a singer.
And you know
Yeah.
he auditioned for Marius too.
Yeah.
And then actually Eddie Redmayne auditioned for Enjolras.
That would not have worked.
Yeah, I
the
like
other
it
way
this
around.
way.
Yeah, that would
I
not have
don't doubt.
worked.
I don't doubt that Aaron Tveit could have done
Marius. Yeah.
But
Right.
Eddie Redmayne as Enjolras.
Well, the only reason he didn't audition for Marius was because he thought he wasn't talented enough to do it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that's maybe not giving enough credit to
Yeah.
the role of Enjolras. But I guess Marius is just, sort
I
of
think
the...
There's-
vocally Enjolras might be more
Starring role.
and vocally Enjolras might be more difficult.
I think so. I think vocally it might be more difficult, but also at the same time, I think Marius musically has more of a wide variety of types of songs to sing. And Enjolras has like a particular thing that he does.
Yes.
Marius has to be strong, but also has to be schmoopy.
yeah.
So yeah.
Which is Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
very perfect. I mean, I think about Eddie Redmayne as Enjolras, and I'm like, but Eddie Redmayne's
think
like a little squirrel.
All the students are cast.
is.
All the students are cast really well
Yes,
in this.
very
Yeah.
well, very well, very well. Yeah.
Let's see.
All the boys.
Okay, so then Thénardier is pillaging through the sewers and comes across Marius and Valjean, who he thinks are dead. And he pulls Maurice's ring off, which will come up later.
This is also very strong imagery for me because, I mean, they are literally swimming in shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so disgusting.
So
Yeah.
and before they get into
Yeah.
the big chamber, so claustrophobic when he's I was just like, ugh. I
Yeah.
don't know, just trapped in that tiny little pipe at the beginning. Ugh.
Yeah,
We are
I have
missing a
no
song here,
words.
though. We're missing an
no
entire
words.
song.
This and which is funny because I feel like Sacha Baron Cohen would have killed that
Oh,
song.
he would have.
Oh, they did.
Destroyed
They
this
did
song.
film it,
They did.
but they didn't have any time.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first cut of this movie was 4 hours long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
I do understand if you're gonna cut something.
But I mean, they
This
said
would make sense.
They said though that like Sacha Baron Cohen knocked it out of the
I
park.
mean, this song is like a rock song.
Yeah.
Like this song is like a heavy, like
And
kind of badass song.
And the lyrics are kind of metal.
yeah, they are. This is like very
I
metal.
reach my what is it?
Eyes to see
Through
the
the
heavens,
heavens,
but only the moon looks down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so good. Like the those triplets, those big triplets,
It's very,
and singing
like,
straight twos on top of
Very
it.
like 70s metal.
Yes.
Like Black Sabbath.
Yes.
It's so good.
I am into. I've always loved this song.
Yeah.
Remember when Cody just like destroyed this song? It was
Yeah.
so amazing. But yes, I'm sad to. I would love for them to release just that.
Yeah,
just him
they
doing
should-
that
they
song,
should've-
right? Just put it on YouTube,
like they do with Les Mis the book, release the unabridged version.
right? Can we?
surprisingly, there weren't any deleted scenes
On the DVD.
that I recall because
Why
I
wouldn't
watched
they
all
give
the
us
special
Doggy Dog?
features, and it was mostly just like interviews about making the movie.
Yeah.
I would love to see that performance.
Someone leak it. If you're
Yeah.
listening, leak it.
Anyone with the capacity to leak it, please leak it. We want the sewer scene. Leak the sewer scene.
So they're coming after this happens. Valjean basically scares Thénardier away,
Yeah.
and he just runs away. And but this will come up later as well. He recognizes that it's Valjean.
Yeah.
And so they're finally getting out of the sewers, and who's there?
Javert.
Oh no. Sorry, we're getting so close.
He
And-
doesn't say anything about the fact that they're literally covered in poop. He just
Yeah.
lets that go.
Yeah.
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 Unrealistic.
Oh, you stink. But ultimately, Valjean is like, we can take care of our business later.
Which he's done before.
Yeah. And Javert always lets it happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is like Javert's final straw of letting himself let this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells him one more step and I'll shoot you. And Valjean
And he's
is
like, literally have a
"Fuck
dying
you."
boy on my fucking
I'm
back,
leaving.
and I'm covered in shit.
Yeah.
Like every time you come here to try to get me, I'm like trying to rescue a child, or I'm like carrying a dying person. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, is it not clear by now that I am a good person?
Right. Exactly.
And at this
Yes.
point, after all this time, all it really boils down to is that he like didn't check in with his parole officer one time.
Yep.
Right.
That's it. That's all. Like
He broke a window pane, he stole a loaf of bread, and then he didn't check in with his parole officer.
I feel like the authorities should just be annoyed with Javert at this point. Like, you are wasting too much time,
Yes.
too many resources on this
Right.
one guy. We don't care about him
This
anymore.
one nonviolent criminal.
Who's like the mayor of a town.
Right.
Like,
Contributing to the economy.
right? Providing jobs.
let it go.
He's an adoptive father.
Right.
Jeez.
But so after this, Javert does in fact decide to let it go.
He lets it all go.
You guys,
And he sings his suicide song.
both times that I saw this scene, I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I laughed.
No,
I
that's fair.
belly laughed out loud in the theater
To be
when
clear,
I saw it.
not about suicide.
Not about suicide, about the way this all went.
And they make Javert's thing in this movie that his, like, walking on ledges of buildings and stuff.
Right.
You know? Which doesn't seem, I don't know,
That was Russell Crowe's idea.
that he was going to be like,
Yeah.
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 That was his,
That's what he brought to it.
yeah.
He's just seen City of Angels a lot of times.
I was just talking about City of Angels with a coworker the other day because Iris came on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. And my coworker was like, Trivia, what was the other big song from that
Uninvited.
movie? Yep, you got it. Alanis Morissette.
I know.
Uninvited.
I love that song. Great string writing on both of those songs.
So Javert is having a crisis.
But is it clear in his acting that he's having a crisis?
Not in his face.
No.
Ever.
Not in his face.
Which is funny because...
Or
I don't know. I mean,
singing.
Okay, so like my first impression watching this, I did not have as negative a response to Russell Crowe as you guys did.
Yeah.
I have since developed very negative feelings
Yeah.
about his performance because I've seen other performances.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the more times I watch it, it's like every time his voice stands out worse.
Yes.
But when I watched it the first time, I didn't have any issues like understanding his motivation or
Right.
you know where he
Right.
was coming from. Like I thought it was fine enough.
Yeah.
you
Right,
know?
right.
But yeah, it's
I mean, they make it
just
really
so
clear in the
confusing to
storytelling.
me.
Oh, yeah.
like how was it that bad? How did this happen?
It's really
Right.
bad. It's really
Like he
really
auditioned
bad.
for it and
Right.
and like Tom Hooper and casting directors said, yes, that's who we want. Like we want
Tom
this guy.
Hooper doesn't understand music. Tom Hooper's not a musician. Tom
They
Hooper's not a
had-
singer.
But they had people that
Well, and
understand
that's the thing.
these
And
things.
I'm sure that Cameron McIntosh and what's his name?
Schoenberg.
Yeah.
Right.
Claude Michel.
They were involved.
Schoenberg.
Right.
They had there were people in the room.
have said something.
Yeah, who could
There
have
were
said
plenty of
something.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was potentially like, you know,
It was just a box office
box
thing?
office thing. The studio was like, we want this whole thing to have like if you're gonna cast people from Broadway that nobody knows in general audiences, then you have to give us some huge stars.
They wanted the poster to say Jackman, Crowe.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
wanted yeah.
I mean, let's be clear. Russell Crowe is a huge name.
Yes.
Everyone knows his name. He's an Oscar-winning actor.
right.
So listen.
So-
we usually save casting stuff for the end, but do you guys want to know who was like he had signed on, I thought, but then he wound up for whatever reasons leaving the project. He was this close to being Javert.
Who?
This is interesting.
Okay.
You will never guess. Paul Bettany.
Oh, fuck,
Bettany.
y'all.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. I'm 100%. I don't know what his voice sounds
I don't
like
know what
at
he is
all.
like as a singer, but you know what? That man would have committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
mean,
love Paul
have
Bettany.
y'all
Love
seen?
him.
Don't love the movie Da Vinci Code,
But,
but
yes.
Yeah.
Paul
He
Bettany
is
in that.
horrifying in that movie.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Any movie that he's in, he
Yeah.
is the scene stealer.
The
Yeah.
Vision.
Oh my god, yeah, no,
We love the Vision.
Vision is my favorite
Yes.
MCU character,
Yeah.
BT
Yeah.
Dubs.
And
That
oh my
is, I mean, that would have changed the whole movie.
yeah.
That would have changed everything.
But I think what they wanted was a name to put up
yeah.
next to Hugh
Hugh
Jackman.
Jackman.
With I don't know.
I don't think, did anyone really know who Eddie Redmayne was at the time? For me,
No.
this was the first time I'd seen
I
him.
think that he might have done. Did he do?
I know he'd been in stuff before, but he wasn't like a.
I don't remember
was
if Danish
before
Girl
the-
or what was the other one that he was in?
Where he played Stephen Hawking.
This was
Yeah.
before Danish Girl
Yeah.
and Stephen Hawking.
And this is
Yeah.
before, like,
This was before he won an
Fantastic
Oscar.
Beasts.
Yeah, I think this might have been one of his first. one
Early,
of his
yeah,
first
definitely
things.
early on. So nobody
Yeah.
really knew who he was.
Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried, I mean,
This
I think at
was-
the time she was pretty well known for Mean Girls, but that was it.
Mean Girls and Jennifer's Body.
Oh, okay. But still, like, not really, like, the biggest demographic.
No.
Was,
would
this,
know
wait,
Amanda
was this
Seyfried.
before Mamma Mia?
I think it was right before.
It was
Mamma
right
Mia.
after Mamma
Oh, right
Mia.
after Mamma Mia.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
people did know her then.
And she was known as being in a musical.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I understand her casting.
People absolutely knew Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know. To me, it sounds like they had enough big names. with
Right.
I know. I know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen, Helena Bonham Carter.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like these are huge names. Like we
That's
we
true, yeah.
could have gone with I mean, Paul
could have
Bettany
had
is
Paul Bettany.
he's very famous.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have recognized him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Wasn't he in that? Wasn't he in A Beautiful Mind?
yeah.
Yes, he was.
Oh,
Russell Crowe. And that's where he met his wife, Jennifer Connelly.
Oh my God.
Paul Bettany is married to Jennifer Connelly?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
But he was just a figment of his imagination.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been.
Sorry if for spoiling a 20-year-old movie.
I actually forgot about that. I forgot that's a plot
my
point.
God.
That was a good, man. Russell Crowe was really good in that.
Yeah.
movie.
You guys, we're not saying Russell Crowe's not a good actor.
I know we're just confused about what happened
Yeah,
in this
what-
situation.
what happened?
It's just like I don't know. Did he? I don't know. But this is the worst scene in the movie. This is the most.
Stars is a close second.
I mean, yes, the scenes with Russell Crowe are the worst ones in the movie.
The scenes where Russell Crowe has to carry
a
scene.
song.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very upsetting. It's also hilarious.
Also, did they need the fucking spinal crunch?
Yes.
No.
Yes. And here's why.
just so that just to be like he's dead.
Yes.
He's actually dead.
That's exactly why.
Yeah. Okay.
Because especially later on, I mean, so Valjean never finds out
Right.
that he was dead. And I think that adds, I guess maybe you'd call
Why
it
he-
dramatic irony for the
why
audience.
he still thinks that he has to run.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
True. That's true.
And then it leaves us knowing for certain
That he doesn't.
that he doesn't have
Right.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
But gross.
but
It is a
it's
really
awful.
disgusting crack.
It's
Yeah.
a disgusting
Yeah.
crack. The singing is just so weak. The timing is bad. It's very slow because he set the tempo. Like
Yeah.
everything is wrong.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong.
This moment reminds me of another laugh out loud moment that people have in a blockbuster movie, which is Titanic and Propeller Guy.
Yes, this is Propeller Guy.
You remember when the guy jumps off the Titanic and hits the
And you
propeller?
hear him hit the
Yeah.
propeller.
And
Oh my God!
That was
Propeller
but that was
Guy.
better acting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was all CGI.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
That CGI guy did it better.
Yeah. That
we could
animator
have just had a CGI Javert.
the whole time.
This would have been great.
Yes.
The whole time. Yeah.
So then after he dies, we come to a very shortened version of the song Turning, where
I am fine with that.
yeah. It doesn't really serve a purpose other than to
Look, the women are sad.
and literally scrubbing the blood off the
Yep.
streets.
I like this. I
No,
like this
yeah,
song,
I
The
like
song is
the
much.
song.
The song is much longer in
There,
the
yeah,
the show.
there's
Yeah.
it's really long. I think I like it this length.
Yes, I do.
I think that it gets
I think
across.
it sounds pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty, and it gets across the point of the song.
Yeah.
What you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we come
Then
to
we get
Eddie.
empty chairs.
This is
And
his.
empty tables.
This is his moment. Like
Yeah.
this, he really. Eddie Redmayne doing empty chairs at empty tables is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I have in my notes several times just internal commentary that I had when I was watching people sing and cry at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes like Hugh Jackman, he stops singing when he's crying, and he starts just kind of crying.
Yeah.
But Eddie Redmayne can sing
Sing through
can
tears.
actually
Yeah.
sing through tears. And let me tell you, as a singer, that is very
So
I know.
hard.
I think his performance is right up there with Anne
Yeah,
Hathaway's.
excellent.
It's just, I don't know, for whatever, I don't want to minimize Anne Hathaway's performance at all.
Oh yeah, she's
and maybe
fantastic.
it's a bigger moment in the musical. It's I don't know, a more iconic song, I would say, because you don't have to be a fan of the musical to know I Dreamed a Dream.
right. I mean, it was literally a hit song.
Yeah.
Right. But no, I agree. I think that Eddie Redmayne does just a good of a job with controlling his emotions enough to sing beautifully.
Yeah,
And that's
but still
incredible.
being able to show the emotions.
Yeah.
And
he's ugly
yes.
crying with a pretty voice.
Yeah.
That's so fucking hard. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And
Yeah,
this song is so heartbreaking.
I cannot sing while I'm crying.
No, me either.
Absolutely
I
not.
have never tried, but I will next time. Next time I'm
time you're
crying,
crying.
I will try singing.
Yes. Or next time you're singing, try crying.
Okay, so this was the take that they used was take 21 of
Wow.
21.
That is exhausting.
He would do 3 times in a row. He did 3 in a row or 7 sets of 3 in a row.
Shit.
And Tom Hooper said he thought they had it around take 14, but Eddie really like begged him, like, please just let me do some more. Like, I know it can be better.
And
Wow.
if it was his decision, then it's fine. If it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
the director, like,
No, Tom
Yeah.
Hooper really gave the
That is-
actors a lot of freedom
Yeah.
in the making of this.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now, alternatively,
it is hard to sing this song more than one time.
I just think it's
yeah.
funny to compare it. Not funny, but interesting to compare it to Anne Hathaway. I think I mentioned
hers
in
was
our
like
last
take 3
recording
or something.
she had 4 takes.
Yeah.
Eddie Redmayne did
Yeah.
21, and
Yeah.
I mean they both got there, so who cares?
yeah.
Yeah.
She also
Who cares?
worked for like an entire year on one song.
Right.
Right, that's true. She's only on the movie for like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think.
Marius is in quite
Yeah.
a bit more of the story than Fontaine is.
Right. Yeah.
But shit, I mean, just
But also, if I had
Right.
given that performance on the 4th take, I would have stopped too.
oh yeah, I'd have been like, that's it.
We got it.
That's it.
Like I haven't eaten in
Yeah.
6 weeks, you guys.
Can
I gotta go.
Can I have a bagel
Yes.
now?
I'm gonna take a shower. Yeah.
So basically, I mean, this song is Marius grappling with survivor's guilt,
Yes.
which is understandable, and he still doesn't know, at this point, he still doesn't know why he's alive.
Yeah.
Right.
Or how he ended up where he ended up.
Right.
He just knows that he survived.
Yeah.
And,
And
he
he's
doesn't
the
know why.
only one.
Yeah.
The only one that's left out
Yeah.
of all of his friends.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's so hard.
And he's just, haunted by them. And in the stage musical, like physically haunted by them.
Yes, like they walk onto the stage.
Yeah.
They show up behind
See,
him.
I wonder why they didn't do that
I got
here.
goosebumps.
No, I did too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't do that since they have Fontaine appear later on at Valjean's death.
Because
and they
Fontaine has
have-
to sing in the end.
Yeah, that's true.
And here they don't. I mean, I
It
think
may
I
have
think
been a
it
little
was,
too ghosty.
Yeah, I think that it was.
like, ooh, look at the spooky.
I know.
And I-
spooky students. Are
And I
back.
think that in the stage show, it's not supposed to be literal ghosts. It's conveying the fact that he's being quote unquote haunted by
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And it's something like that is really powerful on a stage, whereas in a movie it
would have been hard
it's
to
very
accomplish.
delicate. It's delicate.
No, I'm
yeah.
just imagining, like, those terrible editions George Lucas did
Oh, God.
for the Star Wars movies where
Yeah.
you, like, digitally inserted the
Yeah.
ghosts,
Yeah.
I guess, of Obi-Wan and
It was
etc.
bad. Yeah, it was bad.
I'm imagining, like, Enjolras showing up, like,
Yep.
with, like, blue glowing.
Yep.
like,
No.
you know?
Nope.
It would have been really
Yeah, like
difficult
where
to
we put
accomplish
that's right.
that.
Put Hayden Christensen at the
Yes.
Yeah.
end.
Anakin. Oh, so bad.
Oh my
so
god.
bad.
We don't need it. We didn't need it, George.
No, we just need to tell that to George Lucas over and over again. We don't need that.
Anyway, okay, so next, are we going to talk about the A Heart Full of Love?
Oh, every day.
Yeah, so it's every day
Redo.
into Heart Full of Love
Yeah.
reprise. Well, let's do because here we have
Grandpa.
Grandpa who's not in the stage show.
No.
Right.
And I feel like this is still like, I don't know, paying homage to
The book. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think, too, they mentioned something about, like, they just wanted to have him show up at least in one more spot, like, for continuity's sake. Because it'd be weird if he showed up, once, I think, in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And because the first time he shows up, it's really, really brief. Like, you have to
Yeah.
seriously be paying attention.
Yeah, he's when
To
he's- when he's
recognize him as
"You're bringing
Marius's
shame to our
family."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they also just wanted to show the house off some more, too. Like,
Yeah.
show just exactly how rich
Yeah.
Marius's family is.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't. Yeah. Whatever. I think Eddie Redmayne sounds a little bit Kermity here.
He does have a Kermity
Yeah.
thing to his voice.
Yeah.
Mostly it's cute.
I know.
Yeah.
It's cute. I just wanted to say that Kermity.
Kermity. And yeah, they wrote in a new
Kermian. Sorry. go on.
Kermian.
Kermian.
Yeah, Kermian.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, go on.
Hensinian.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they wrote in a whole different. So you have those three parts.
Suddenly reprise.
They have the three parts that Marius, Cosette, and Valjean are singing in the Heart Full of Love reprise, but they wrote in a new counter melody just for Grandpa. It's not like a part that was in there that someone else was singing or anything like that.
I mean, it's fun. It seems pretty innocuous to me. Like,
I don't have
whatever.
I don't have any issues
It's
with
fine.
it.
Take it or leave it.
My only thing is there are already so many fucking characters in this.
Right.
Do we need more characters? Could we have shown how rich Marius is without Grandpa?
Probably.
Yeah, there are so many people in this movie.
The thing is, there's in the show, there's not really. This scene happens without there really being a setting for it. You're just like, hey, this is Marius and Cosette, and they're hanging around, and this is like
they're back together.
They have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And
so you might as well put him somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
He's at Grandpa's house.
Right.
You know what? I gotta say too, and this is probably in the book, but no time for that. Having Grandpa show up so much does sort of beg the question: what happened to Marius's parents?
There's a lot. I think there is a lot about Marius's dad in the book.
Yeah.
I bet they do the whole family lineage.
The whole Marius's whole like.
Oh yeah, they spend a lot of time on it.
Yes,
or he spends a lot of time.
It's
the
like
author,
no,
Victor Hugo, spends time.
Literally, Marius's backstory is like half of the book.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like the fucking Council of Elrond. Literally most of the book.
Right.
We can cut it. We can cut that. We don't really need it.
Yeah.
So basically, now Valjean gives Marius his blessing to be with Cosette, but this is where he tells him exactly who he is.
Yeah.
Tells him about his past, and he tells Marius that he has to flee to save Cosette's reputation, basically. Like if she's going to be with this,
fancy dude,
like I can't be around because I could be found out at any time because he thinks that Javert is still looking for him. And Marius doesn't want him to, but
he understands.
He understands and he lets him go. And then they get married, and
I like that this music is just underscore.
Yes. That was a nightmare to do live.
Oh God, it was so hard. We could not get it.
Because, also it was sorry, Kelsey, but for us it was like it's such an inconsequential part of the show, the wedding music.
Yeah, that we didn't really practice.
We didn't think about it very much. Like we had the chorus learn it. And then when it came time to do it, we were like...
Entrances, they couldn't find it.
What the fuck are we doing?
They
anyway,
couldn't find that, yeah. It was hard.
So the Thénardiers crashed the wedding.
I know, I was already dead by this point, so I was conducting again.
Right. So they crashed the wedding with the intention of extorting money from them because they think that Valjean was like stealing bodies and looting bodies and stuff,
which is what they were doing,
right?
And let's just take a second to acknowledge their appearance.
Her little sunglasses,
yes,
and like they have like the most white, face
powder faces. Helena Bonham Carter just taking shit and putting it in her hair.
And that was all her. That was not in the directions at all. She just decided to do that. Because she's genius.
Yes.
She's wonderful.
The penciled on mustache. Like,
so good.
Oh my God, they look so horrendous.
This is the best casting.
And the thing is, they think that, and this shows so well, like, how ridiculous they look when they think that they're fitting in with the rich people.
They seriously look like sad French clowns.
Yes, they do.
No, but her little sunglasses, is that what is the word when something is out of place in a time period?
I know what you're talking about. Anachronism.
Anachronism.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if they had little sunglasses back then, but I approve the choice.
Actually. Yes. I think they did, and they were that teeny tiny.
Yes.
I love it. I love all of it. I love every moment the Thénardiers are in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And I just want to add, I love that the tiny sunglass revival trend has since, I think, gone away again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want my sunglasses to actually be protective wear.
They have those little, like... Right now, it looks like little pointy, little one. I don't know. Anyway, give me a pair of Ray-Bans. I'm fine.
Yes.
So they come to Marius was like, and they're like, we know that Valjean was like stealing bodies and looting because I found this, and he has Marius's ring.
Yeah.
And so Marius is like, oh, he was carrying me. That's my ring. He knows now that Valjean was the one who saved him from the barricade. So he
grabs Cosette and leaves their wedding.
And for some reason, the Thénardiers know where
Valjean is.
Which is...
I can't remember. I was just thinking, because I remember, Marius demands that he tell him. Where did he go?
I don't think we find out why they know.
They're just like shifty people who know things.
Was it when they were outside and because the way they sneak in is they open up one side of the carriage when a group is getting out, and then they just follow behind them.
So brilliant.
Yes.
Love it.
Was there something where they just overheard people talking right before that or something?
I don't know.
It's probably not important.
I think it's just they just have their ear to the underground.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
So now Marius
And they do beggars
Cosette,
at the feast, and it's really cute, and I love it.
Yeah. While they're being dragged out, which is
great.
It's shot really well.
Yeah, it's shot really well. Like it.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing of these choices that were made that I think are good. Like Gavroche singing on the back of the carriage while it's moving, or them singing while they're being dragged out of the
They're
wedding.
almost like music video choices.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very Lerman-esque. If we're talking about music video movies.
Yes. Oh, yes. True.
It sure is.
True. Mm-hmm. Especially this scene is very Lerman-esque.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So now we are
at the epilogue.
Cut to the epilogue. So Valjean is sitting alone in the convent, candles all around, and obviously sick.
Yeah.
Which is something we didn't know when he was leaving, but now it's obvious that he's dying.
We kind of saw it because he tried to pick something relatively small up off the ground, why am I forgetting the word? It's a trunk, trunk. Yeah. He tries to pick it up and he really struggles. So that's the first sign that something is up, since his strength has been...
Because he is Bruce Banner.
You know what I never put together before? Is that he probably got sick from being in the fucking sewer.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what Tom Hooper said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that he supposes that he probably caught something since he was swimming in poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with this musical for a very long time, and I never thought about that.
Right?
But now, since we're coming out of a global pandemic, I'm like, everything's disgusting,
yes.
and that makes complete sense to me.
So nasty.
Oh my God, so gross. Yes, so he's very much dying.
Yes, and he's, he's making his peace with God, and the spirit of Fantine comes to comfort him.
Yeah.
And kind of guide him through the past.
No, she's like, come on, it's awesome over
it's
here.
great.
You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All your grief at last behind you.
Yeah.
And she's kind of in the middle of starting that process with him when Cosette and Marius rush in.
This was their first scene together, by the way. Cosette and Marius.
They filmed this first?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Interesting.
It makes, I think it was Amanda Seyfried's first... I can't remember, but
this is one of my favorite.
It makes it really impressive, or that much more impressive.
Yeah.
Knowing that they hadn't had time to really develop that chemistry yet, and
Yeah.
I think especially her chemistry here with Hugh Jackman is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this scene, like I said, is one of my favorite performances of hers.
Yeah.
She's good face acting.
She doesn't, because does she sing much in this?
She has a couple lines.
Another actor who's great at crying while singing, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's different, but
It's more like tears in the eyes.
Yeah. This, the musically, the epilogue is so wonderful and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There are changes in the film that make me sad as a fan, as someone who knows the music really well. Eponine's supposed to come back in the epilogue. It's one of my favorite parts to sing.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be Fantine and Eponine they're welcoming Valjean into heaven.
Now, here's something.
I'm not saying I don't agree with what they did because they bring the bishop back instead, but
yeah, I do like Combe having another appearance.
Let him sing. Let him fucking sing.
But it does it's already pretty like Christian-y, if we can make that a word.
Yes.
And I feel like
But the story is pretty.
No,
I mean,
I know,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But this kind of like having him do it instead of Eponine, kind of
makes
puts it over
really
the edge.
Christian-y.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so the reasoning for that choice to swap out Bishop instead of Eponine was basically because Eponine and Jean Valjean don't have a relationship.
Well, they don't. I mean, in the stage show, they don't have a relationship, but they do meet.
Yes. When
Eponine is the one that delivers the note.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
In
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
and,
but they,
yeah, they don't have a relationship.
And also, Eponine and Cosette were basically foster sisters.
Right.
But it's whatever. I think it was more that they wanted a soprano and an alto and a tenor. To
have those harmonies.
Yeah, for the harmonies,
like
and that's great. I don't have, and also because Eponine is a big part of the show. She's a big deal. People love her. She's got some of the best songs. So bringing her back was
right.
For audiences,
it's also
it made
like
sense.
who are the biggest characters that in the show that have died.
Yeah.
that
no,
can
they
come
do
back.
So when
Who are
we
not
get
Javert.
to the
Right.
to the big
What if it was
reprise-
Javert?
What if it was Javert?
Oh my God! What if it was Javert?
What
That'd be awful.
I don't know.
For the story, I'm not talking about bringing back Russell Crowe. I'm saying for the story, what if he in the afterlife has come to understand?
I think that would have. I mean,
Is that who
I'm
you
on your
would want to
page.
see
Right.
as Jean Valjean?
No, it's not. But
I'd be like, you're still doing this? You're dead. Stop hunting me.
we're dead. Come on now.
I think, in theory, the idea is nice. It would involve a lot more
Stuff
to happen for that to make sense.
Absolutely. You're right. I just got excited for a second.
Yeah. But ultimately, the decision is fine. I would have loved to see Samantha Barks again at the end.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
And so I was gonna
it's
say
one of my
it's not-
favorite parts, and I don't like when my favorite parts are cut.
Oh, and also,
so-
Kelsey, sorry.
Go ahead.
Because Fantine's last line that she sings before, in the movie, before the bishop comes in, is sung with Eponine with this beautiful harmony.
It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I still understand.
Take my
what they did.
hand.
Yeah. So what were you saying?
But I think one thing they do, and it's obviously not as significant, but one thing they do to help sort of assuage, people that are going to be disappointed because it should have been Eponine, or, you guys were expecting Eponine. Isn't she the first person that
When
they
they go
cut
to Fantasy Barricade?
Yeah, when they
Yeah.
go to the, exactly.
Yeah. And they're also giving us Colm Wilkinson again, and as
that-
fans of the original,
I really
production-
enjoy Colm Wilkinson.
Yeah.
you guys, he's my Valjean.
Yes.
He's the one.
And that's a good point, is that yes, they're taking away Eponine, but you're getting more calm.
Yeah.
So
And at least there's a justification behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if they were going to have the letter be delivered by Gavroche instead of Eponine. Eponine and Valjean now have zero history. I understand.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I mean, they don't even show baby Eponine when he goes to get Cosette. So
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
I think that this ending works really well.
I really love the way that they did this finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what else they could have done in this moment, because
Yeah.
in the stage show, it's just kind of like all the lead actors are up front in the stage and they're having their moment, and everyone else kind of appears behind them as the fallen and the
Yes.
ghosts. Everyone that you've seen in the show appears and comes up and surrounds them. Mm-hmm. And you can't really do that. It's like the ghosts when Marius is singing.
You can't do that.
Yeah, this has to be a fantasy scene.
Yeah.
And the way that, or not fantasy, it has to be otherworldly.
Yes.
And the way that they convey that is having this like 5-story tall barricade that everyone is on. I love it, and they're all smiling. I love it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the smiling goes a long way.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially Annie Hathaway.
I know.
And I
Up on
guess
the
really it's the
I
first
know.
time you see any of them smile.
Right.
Yeah. 'Cause everything's so sad the whole movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and then to top it off, like, you know, the fact that like the whole show ends with "Do you hear the people saying" is like a big deal anyway, and that music already closing the show out is so it almost like gives you hope, even though like everyone died.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, it
you
makes
get-
me feel
yeah.
like they almost know that like they
did something.
sacrifice themselves for, you know, a worthy reason, and it's going to pay off.
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I don't know how far into the future we have to go before that payoff comes, but it does
Right.
come.
The only-
They did it.
I mean,
the
we're
other
still
thing-
kind of working through that.
but they did it. It
Yeah.
just, it took a,
Yeah,
took,
you
a,
know,
took a little while.
Yeah.
The other
it's
thing
stigma.
that I think that the stage show conveys that this doesn't really convey, and this isn't really anything against the way the movie did it, because I don't know how else they would have done it, but there is this sort of realization at the end. Everyone is basically, Marius and Cosette are like in tableau in the front holding each other, and everyone surrounds them, and you're like, oh, Marius and Cosette are the only people left
Yes.
alive at the end of this movie.
Yes.
Which isn't really conveyed to that extent in the movie. I don't
Right.
know how they would have,
Right.
but like there is something about the contrast of like,
Overwhelming.
yeah,
Yeah.
to have everybody from the show surround them. We're like, oh, all those people are dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are, Marius and Cosette are the only
Right.
ones left alive.
Well, and the Thenardiers.
Well, yeah. But they aren't in the finale.
They are. We don't need them in
They're
the finale.
cockroaches. They will live.
Yeah. They will live
Forever.
through nuclear fallout.
Yes.
They will be fine. They will be picking people's bones dry
Right.
after the bomb goes off.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it is. They do show up in in concert ones. They do have a mic,
Yes.
you know, because but that's different. It's in concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that like the ending of this does do it for me.
Same.
Yeah.
It hits that emotional spot that you needed
Yeah.
to hit. And a lot of it like is the smiling and the kind of joyfulness that they have.
And it's very bright.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like it's
Yes.
full light of day. It's
Yeah.
do you remember when there were like leaked photos of them filming this before the movie came out, and I was like I was so excited.
Yes.
It was, yes.
So there
So anyway,
we're at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's over. So yeah, overall feelings, is everyone hanging tough with their grades?
Yeah.
I am too. What did I say? B? You said
I
C
said
plus,
C+,
B minus.
B minus.
I give it an A.
Yeah.
It's not an A plus, but it's an A.
Yeah.
And so what do you think? Around an 80%, Larissa?
Yeah, I guess so. Between a 78 and 80%.
Yeah.
I mean, I am coming from an unusual perspective because of having like literally arranged all of this music note for note by ear.
And having particular attachments to the music itself based on very
Yes.
close interaction
Well,
with it.
and in addition to that, if you remember, we like sort of modeled together our ideal performance of this show from all of the material that we had up until that point in 2011. So like I made my ideal run of the show. Mm-hmm. And then I watched somebody else's.
Right.
And I was like, those, I would not have made some of those choices. I was like, yes, but I was like,
Well, that was the thing. And
You know?
here's the thing. We basically decided to do ours, Kelsey, because the 25th anniversary concert had just come out, and
Yeah.
we were like, we could do better than that. And
and we did.
but what they did with the movie was basically take that 25th anniversary music and put it into movie form.
Right. So I already had disagreements with
Right.
with things. So my perspective is like not. I mean, I understand that I am going to be extra hard on this.
Yeah.
Because of my experiences.
Absolutely. So, okay. So first of all, Kelsey, let's talk awards.
Okay.
Do you have award notes?
I do.
Okay,
I always do.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so I think this was interesting at the Academy Awards because it was one of the rare occasions where there was a Best Picture nomination but not a Best Director nomination.
Right.
Yeah, for
I
Tom
probably...
Hooper.
The thing is, I agree.
I agree too.
So it was also first musical to get a nomination in 10 years. I think prior to Les Mis, it was Chicago.
Oh, for
Yeah.
Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think
Interesting.
just nomination
Yeah.
in general for any Academy Award nomination.
Yeah.
Okay, so Best Picture, they obviously didn't win. It was 2014.
Who won Best Picture? Like Silver Linings Playbook or something?
Nominated, didn't win. It was Argo.
Oh, okay.
The other standouts that year, at least for me, were Lincoln, Life of Pi, Zero Dark 30. I mean, it was a good year for movies. Beasts of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained. And then there was a movie called Amour that I did not see and I don't remember at all.
Okay.
But anyway, so I went to Argo. Let's see. Hugh Jackman got a Best Actor nomination. He lost to Daniel Day-Lewis, of
For Lincoln,
course.
yeah. Which I never saw Lincoln.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
You
that
know?
man.
Yeah.
And then Anne, she did win.
Of
Yeah.
course.
She famously
Yeah.
won. She famously won.
Did people give Sally Field that much shit after she said,
Yes.
"You like me"? They did.
Yes. She had to live that down for a long time.
BT Dubs, Sally
sucks.
Field was nominated this year as well for Mary Todd Lincoln.
Oh yeah. I love Sally Field.
I mean, I feel like it's a particular kind of... You never hear about this shit... Any man ever getting this sort of, clap back about any sort of acceptance speech that he ever makes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did y'all see Joaquin Phoenix's acceptance speech at the last Oscars?
What did he do? I don't remember.
It was just, we don't have to get into it. It was just, it was a lot. It was Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not
But
like
it
people
didn't-
are
it
still
didn't-
talking about it.
It didn't become
though.
part of
Yeah.
the
That's true.
cultural lexicon.
Exactly.
As much as it came true.
that was-
you really like me.
Yeah.
But it's also
It came true moment, though, was really cringy.
But it's also one of those Annie Hathaway moments where she's being precocious. Like, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was, you could tell that
She was gonna say that.
She had planned to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Well, you can tell. She's the kind of person that you look at her and you're like, I can tell that you practiced this in the mirror
Yeah.
when you were 10.
Well, and
Which is also kind of cute.
Yeah.
after everything she did to get that Oscar, I would honestly be concerned for her mental health had she not won
Right,
the
right,
Oscar.
Yeah.
Like, I
think
can't imagine
it's
that level of
fucking fine.
devastation.
Yeah.
I think that she deserved it. I think she worked her fucking ass off. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's
whatever
fine.
she wanted to say. She didn't do
You
anything
can say whatever
wrong.
the fuck you
Yeah.
want.
But I also did appreciate when Jennifer Lawrence won. Didn't she say, "I beat Meryl"?
That's funny.
Right.
That's funny though.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny.
I mean, also, like, not everyone is Frances fucking McDormand and gonna, like, get up there and, like, be profound and, like, be, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, like, kick your ass.
Yeah, let him. At this point, I think at the time, I probably was like, "Oh, fucking Anne Hathaway." But
I mean, yeah,
you know,
everybody
but I've turned a corner on
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like her.
I'm not actively disliking her.
Yeah.
I don't know that I don't think I'd hang out with her.
You know what? I would watch The Princess Diaries 2, which also stars Chris Pine.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch The Princess Diaries. I mean, any of
just
it.
wouldn't hang
It
out
also
with- hang out
has
with
Not the first one. The second one. I'm talking about the second one, which was Chris Pine's first movie.
but we also get Julie Andrews.
And we
so,
get
I
Julie
mean,
Andrews.
Come on. Yeah.
And Hector Elizondo.
And you know, Princess Diaries 2 is the reason that she was not in Phantom of the Opera.
I mean, I would choose.
So-
I would choose Make Out with Chris Pine on screen over Phantom of
Well,
the Opera.
the way I read it, it was a contractual obligation.
Yeah.
Like she wanted to do Phantom.
she
but
had signed up for 2
couldn't.
movies. Gotcha.
But I mean, think about that. She was this close to being in that movie, and that would have been her
would've
first big
been-
musical,
and I would've-
not Les Mis. It could have changed everything.
That movie.
And I would have
fucking
been.
sucks.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
I know
at
that movie
length.
sucks.
Yeah.
And
So Princess Diaries 2 really saved her.
from being, I mean, I don't know. Emmy Rossum had just turned 17 when they made that movie.
But she was not the only problem in that movie.
No.
Like, simply replacing her with Anne Hathaway would not have saved the movie.
No, she would have been.
It
a more
would have
appropriate
destroyed
age, but-
Anne Hathaway.
Yes.
I mean, there are also just problems with Andrew Lloyd Webber.
yes.
Anyway,
So moving on,
Yeah.
do you have more movie award notes?
Only
Same.
that the Golden Globes were pretty similar, except that Hugh Jackman did win at the Golden Globes.
Because it was in the comedy or musical category.
I don't think so. I think an act. I can't remember. Probably. I don't know that they separate it for acting roles. I
yeah.
think they just separate it for the movie nomination itself.
I don't remember.
But I'm not positive.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
And with the BAFTAs, I think it's interesting. Anne Hathaway won Best Lead Actress over there, where she was only nominated for a supporting role in the United States.
I mean, Fontaine is a lead in this show.
I think it's
there are
debatable.
not lots of women. There are more male roles than female roles. In
no,
this.
agree.
Well, that's the
and
thing
that's the
is-
problem.
She's the most memorable one.
But she's only on screen in a 2.5-hour movie for 13 minutes.
That's true.
But the thing is, in
That's
this
true.
movie, there aren't. If we're putting it like that, there aren't leading women in
No,
this
there
movie.
aren't.
I think there aren't.
Yeah.
At least not according to the Academy.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, how many minutes is Madame Thénardier in the movie? How
Probably-
many minutes is
Probably
Eponine
about
in the movie?
equally
Probably-
as long.
yeah.
Yeah, how many minutes is Cosette in the movie?
yeah, probably
Cosette
more than.
may
Probably
be
a
the
little bit
longest.
more.
She's probably in it more than the other people,
Yeah,
with
and if you-
less
and if-
singing.
But also,
And-
if you count young Cosette, also
Right.
you have to count.
But
And that's
Cosette
2
has
actors.
like the least. Her role isn't
Development?
very meaty.
Well, yeah, she doesn't have a
She
character
doesn't-
arc.
and she doesn't have
Yeah.
a big.
Like they made efforts to insert little moments to give her a little bit more humanity.
Right,
Like
what were
when
you
they're at
talking
the-
about when she is?
Having the fight with her dad.
They made those moments much
Yeah.
more like a fight with your dad.
Yeah.
And then the very first scene of her at the wedding is like she's looking out the window, kind of sad, like, and you can tell she's upset about her father not being there.
As far as I'm concerned, if there's a female lead in this show, it's Fontaine.
Right.
yeah. I agree with both sides of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But that's mostly the award stuff. I think it's also interesting that they did not get a nomination for adapted screenplay at the Academy Awards. That's another one that I would have guessed they'd be eligible for.
I would say like a lot. I mean,
There was no
How do
Best
you-
Supporting
How
Actor
do you define
nomination.
screenplay?
right, because a lot of this was previously written for the stage.
Right.
Is it-
But it was
Interesting.
adapted for film.
It was adapted
Right.
for
It is an
film.
Why
adapted
not, you know?
screenplay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but like, yeah, how do you define
Because like even if there's
Yeah.
not that much quote unquote dialogue in a screenplay, like there's still
Someone still had
a
to sit down and
screenplay.
write a screenplay. Yeah.
You have to have stage direction
The
and all
book.
of that stuff.
The book.
Yes.
The book.
Yeah,
And
I mean, at the
speaking-
Tonys, it would be the book.
Speaking
Yeah.
of Tonys,
It would be lyric and book.
Speaking of Tonys, the show was nominated for 12 Tony Awards. At that time, it was the record for nominations at the Tonys. And it won 8. It won Best Musical, Best Book, Best Score, Best Featured Actor, Best Featured Actress, which, like I think I told you this before, but Frances Ruffelle, who was Eponine, won over Judy Kuhn, who was Cosette, who is Pocahontas.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Best Director, Best Scenic Design, and Best Lighting Design.
I mean, and it deserved all of those.
Yes.
This
And-
was a big deal. This was like, I mean, if you think about the 1980s and Broadway and Broadway musicals, like this was when like a lot of technology was changing
right.
with,
You had
with stage stuff.
and at this time you had like the big things on Broadway were the fucking chandelier,
Yeah.
in Phantom and the rotating stage
It was
in Les Mis.
time for high production.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Cameron McIntosh and Claude Michel and Alan Bobill's next musical
Saigon.
was fucking Miss Saigon, and they brought
Helicopter.
a fucking helicopter.
Crazy.
There's a fucking, you can feel the breeze on your face.
It's crazy. I've never seen. I saw when Larissa was in Miss Saigon.
Oh yeah, when I did it, I saw Lea Salonga close it. I saw Lea Salonga close Miss Saigon.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But
yeah.
that's Miss Saigon is also problematic for other reasons, but
Lots of other
Yeah.
reasons.
So-
we could talk about that source
Right.
material for a really long time.
So do you want to talk recasting?
I think it's time.
I think
Let's
we
do
have
it.
to.
We have to. You had mentioned earlier, Larissa, that you had an idea for Javert.
We were talking about this after the first time we recorded.
Yeah.
We were talking about Chris Pine.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
He's a very good singer.
Yeah.
He is.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
And he's one of those actors that like commits 100% to shit. I think he probably would have done, and he was in Into the Woods, and he was very good. Even though I have, like stylistic problems with Into the Woods,
Yeah.
he was very good.
I think that he really wants to be in a big musical.
Yeah.
Because he did this episode of SNL. He was the host.
Yeah.
And seriously, all but like 2 sketches were musical sketch. He sang in every single sketch. And I was like,
Fucking
this
love
is
it.
him
He was fishing.
auditioning
He
for
was
the
fishing,
world.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, cast me in a musical. And it was also right after La La Land. And I was like, okay, musicals are having a moment.
Yeah.
He's going for it. And I still, like, it hasn't happened.
I want to see it.
Oh, what if it was Gyllenhaal Pine?
Let's figure out how to make this
In
happen.
that case, what if... Oops. Shoot.
Chess.
In that case, what if it was... Hear me out. Pine for Valjean.
Ooh, yeah.
Gyllenhaal as Javert.
You know what?
I could see. I'm leaning more towards Gyllenhaal as Valjean.
Valjean?
Yeah,
Okay.
myself. But like, I think that in a lot of cases, if you can do one, you can do the other.
Probably.
And
yeah.
and in this case, they could. They
Yeah.
could.
I just can see Pine like being like, I can lift that fucking mast.
I bet he could.
So another name that I was just thinking of that always comes up in like people who almost got the role or auditioned. I mean, obviously he's dead, but Heath Ledger could have been a really good Javert.
Ooh, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Sad we'll never get to see that.
I have an idea for Eponine.
Okay.
New It Girl Olivia Rodrigo.
Fuck yeah!
Right?
Bring the Filipinos back to the role.
Yes.
I mean, Lea Salonga was the first woman of color to play Eponine on Broadway. She's Filipino. Olivia Rodrigo is also Filipino. We're
Great
like
singer.
very, very good singer.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Yes.
And
And she's an actress. She's
And
on
she's an
that.
actress.
She's on that show,
whatever that show is.
High School Musical, the musical, the
thing.
series.
Yeah, the musical, the series. But also, Eponine, I feel like her part has the most room to be a pop singer.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the other, like Valjean, you have to almost be an opera singer,
Right.
to be able to do that part. But Eponine, that's
On
a
My
fucking
Own-
pop
On My
song.
Own is a pop song,
It's a pop
yeah.
song. So
Yeah.
yes, you know what? I'm totally behind that.
Yes.
And not just because I'm also Filipino.
Okay, so here are the people that did not get the role.
Oh, I love this part, Kelsey.
Most famously, Taylor Swift.
She was almost Eponine, right?
There was an audition involved. Tom Hooper said that she was fantastic, but for whatever reason, yeah. But then,
For
obviously,
whatever reason.
obviously she wound up in Cats a few years later.
Don't
He-
get me started
yeah.
on cats.
And by the way, Eponine, it sounds like Eponine was actually the hardest role to land because even Samantha Barks went through like a 15-week audition process.
And she had literally played Eponine.
on Broadway. Yeah.
And Tom Hooper had seen her as Eponine. Like, she was the first person he ever saw in the role, and it still took him that long. Anyways, other people considered a little more surprising, Hayden Panettiere. didn't know that she's
I mean, I could see her as
in this
Cosette,
world.
maybe.
Yeah. But Eponine, she's just not likable enough to be Eponine.
No.
Leah Michelle obviously auditioned.
Yeah, of course she did.
Of course she did.
Scarlett Johansson.
Shit, no.
Evan Rachel Wood. That could, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Cosette.
Yes.
I would have really
And
liked
she's
her
such
as
a good singer.
Cosette.
You've seen Frozen
Yes.
too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I could totally see her as Cosette. Feel like she would have been a strong Cosette.
I really like Evan Rachel Wood.
And wait for it.
And I am with her also, by the way.
What do you mean?
I mean Marilyn Manson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
all-
We're
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
Team Evan.
Fuck Marilyn Manson.
And then finally, Miley Cyrus. It would have been way too distracting.
Yeah, she probably wasn't at a...
Hey, y'all. It's
Hey,
me,
y'all, it's me,
Eponine.
We definitely clipped just then.
Oh my god.
Hey, y'all, it's me, Eponine.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you know that, but I'm sad now.
I can't believe it's raining.
If it was Vanessa Bayer as Miley Cyrus as Eponine,
Eponine,
yes.
Oh, I will pay money for that. I would pay money for that. Also,
know how
we
they-
also just did it.
You know how because they do those sketches on SNL where it's
Yeah.
like lost
that's like-
auditions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it's just an excuse for them to all do their
But
celebrity
also,
impressions.
John Mulaney always does a musical sketch. Like that's his thing now, and like very
They did do One Day More at one point. I
right. And
forget
it's
what it was.
about a guy that orders the one lobster in the New York diner,
Oh,
and the lobster's been in
yes!
the tank like forever since they
yes, yes.
opened. Yeah, and he knows he's about to get eaten, and so Keenan sings as the lobster as Jean Valjean.
I loved that. I loved it a lot.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, all of those sketches have been phenomenal.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not completely mad about the idea of Miley Cyrus.
No, and I feel like if she'd had
If she'd had some
She
like
wasn't-
vocal
she
coaching
wasn't-
and
now I see it, but now she's like in her 30s.
right.
But I don't think that she was ready at that point in her
No.
career. Was not ready for that.
No. I mean,
Because it was
Hannah
the-
Montana is Cosette.
And this is
Hannah Montana.
Keep
is
in mind,
not
this is
Eponine.
2 or 3 years before We Can't Stop, or
Right.
that
Right.
movie,
Right.
that-
Right.
I think I think
But,
she
like,
would have
listen
been a
to The
little
Climb.
distracting.
Yeah, I mean, The Climb. She's always been a great singer.
Yeah.
but
I think vocally she probably could have handled it.
yeah,
I don't know about the acting.
and just at that point, the distraction factor.
Right. Exactly.
Any other almost casts?
No, and I didn't come up with any suggestions for myself. Because I mean, I just think Samantha Barks, she is my Eponine.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
She's really
Love
good.
her.
She's really good.
Okay, want to do Fontaine?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Scarlett Johansson auditioned for that role as well.
Okay.
Says that she put her all into it. But that she was happy with Anne Hathaway's performance, of course. Emily Blunt was suggested, but she declined to audition.
Okay.
I don't know if I could see that. I could. We like her now.
Yeah.
I liked her as the baker's wife in Into the Woods.
Yeah, I mean, she's a beautiful singer. I guess I've just associated her too much now with Mary Poppins. Mm-hmm. That trying to imagine her in this really devastatingly dark role is
Yeah, I had
hard
I
for
had
me.
so much trouble with that movie. Yeah. But
Kate Winslet was also in the running.
okay.
Oh my God! I hadn't even thought of that.
Okay.
I would have loved that.
Wait for this one. Wait for this
Okay.
one. Wait for this one. Marion Cotillard
Well, fuck.
and Amy Adams, which
They would have all been so good, but
Oh my God! I don't know, casting an actual person from France. Who would have
Marion.
thought? Casting someone who literally played Edith Piaf in a biopic and was amazing.
Edith.
yeah.
I mean, of all of those, I would stand very strongly behind Marion Cotillard.
Marion and Kate.
Yeah, same,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
same. And this is after we've just spent a very long time talking about how amazing.
Yes,
Anne
Anne Hathaway was
was.
great.
Yeah.
She was great. She was great.
But alternate universe.
Absolutely would have
You
been
know,
so
we can just have
cool.
another version and
Yeah.
still keep our version.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see what they would have done.
Do y'all have any dream casts other than those
Other
two,
than the
Kate
ones-
Winslet and
No, I
Marion
love
Cotillard?
yeah,
I love
and
it.
Amy Adams is a great idea too.
My problem is that I'm still so attached
I
to
would
other
love,
voices.
yeah, and
in
I
those
would love to
parts.
see Lea Salonga in a movie version as Fantine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean that
Yeah,
that
I
in
agree.
particular. So this is a thing that just in general Broadway has been trying to do more with casting diversity and casting people in parts that like just don't have a race associated with them. Of course, like in a movie, like we're thinking about what did France look like. There are people of color in background parts randomly, you know, but there's nobody in the main cast that's a person of color. So, I mean,
And that's where you're like, what are you... It makes more sense to suspend disbelief on stage for some reason.
Right.
But when they're going for this realism thing, how are they explaining... realism.
I'm not going to say that
think
there
they could have
weren't
done
people
it.
of color in France during this time. There absolutely
No,
were.
absolutely.
I'm
so I
usually
think that
happy
they,
to go along and just like, continue with that suspended belief.
Yeah, I
and
think
just be
it
like,
would have been
whatever.
And this is
Yeah.
that was
Go
and
with
I'm
it.
definitely playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Trying to reason with their decisions because I think that it definitely would have made sense to have any person of color in any of these roles.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, actually, I did have a suggestion, a recast for Javert. I wrote it down on my other page. Okay. Christopher Jackson, who is George Washington and Hamilton.
Oh, I love him.
Yes.
He was my favorite.
Yeah.
And I didn't even like Hamilton.
No, but he was like,
I was like, who is that guy?
I was the the Twitter picture of Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen.
Yes, this guy.
And then I started thinking, just going off of Christopher Jackson, what about Daveed Diggs as Jean Valjean?
Interesting.
As long as you don't let Lin-Manuel Miranda anywhere near
Don't let
it.
him anywhere near this.
No.
No. Oh my God. He's in the background like with his like big wide smile.
another word.
Oh God, no. Oh my God. Do not make the confrontation into a square rap. Just so some white people can be like, I do like rap.
Wow, when you put it in that context.
When it's about the white founding fathers, I do like rap.
So I think that, unfortunately, we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to wrap things up.
Yeah.
I've loved discussing this with you guys.
Yeah.
And
All
I'm so
out for
glad
the
because
last
like
one.
Yes.
it's really interesting to talk to because for the most part, as far as Les Mis goes, I live in an echo chamber. So it's really nice to talk to somebody who had a very different experience watching this movie because everyone I talked to were just like, oh, it was bad. And we all agree it was bad. And
I'm over here, Team Les Mis.
yes, and seeing a different perspective on it and like understanding that like yes, my perspective is very specific. And that like I'm not trying to like ruin somebody's positive experience with this because I think any way that you are getting into music like this and stories like this is good, you know?
Totally.
So-
But I also acknowledge that the more I have learned about musicals since I first saw this, the less and less that I like it.
Yeah.
But like I said,
But you're always
before,
gonna appreciate your first experience with something like
Right.
this.
and it will
more.
always be there for me to like have a good cry to when that's what I need to do.
Oh,
Yes.
can we say whenever the next touring production comes through,
Can
we'll
we go
see
Can
it.
we see it?
I've
please?
been trying to see
I know.
it ever since, and it sells out every time.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make it. I don't know how.
Prioritize.
Yes.
Prioritize. Set
Yeah.
some Google alerts.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. I'm on board.
I am there. I mean, yeah.
Well, I love you guys.
love you.
And this is our finale episode for this season. We'll be back sooner than you think, though.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can find us on our Instagram at The Hills Are Alive Pod.
All right, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.